Well, hello, everybody. It's Christmas time. Isn't it Christmas? Don't you feel like you're waiting anxiously for Christmas? What's wrong with my lights? What happened? I'm going to have to fix those or something. Hello, everybody. This is our Sunday stream about the New York Jets. We're calling the waiting game. You think I'll go till midnight? I don't know if I got that in me, man. I'm still tired from Thursday. The Thursday, think of it, this week was out of control. You guys didn't see it. It's up there, obviously, but 5 straight hours. We had lots of great people stopping by. Good time, man. Good time. But shit, was I tired at the end of that one, man. Because then I was all geared up. I drank a bunch of coffee and energy drinks and everything. Try to go to sleep, even though I was shot, like mentally exhausted. I was up for 2 more hours. I don't know, man. That was kicked my ass, that one. So what's going on? Are you guys feeling good? Are you feeling bad? Where are we? I know, you know what it is? Alien face. If it was why it's like this shows, like my beard is white, right? Clearly, anywhere I go, it's the first thing people notice about me. I have a white beard. But then you put this on and you're used to a Santa, and then you see I have so much color left in my beard, which is weird because I never had black hair, period. Now it's all black. Isn't that crazy? Black hair under there. Chris Bradigan's checking in. Chris, you got to tell us, you're up there in Chicago. Chris Bradigan's a Chicago Jets fan. And you got to tell us what's going on up there. What are they saying, buddy? What are they saying up there about this whole thing? You guys are the best. I want you to know I checked in a few times throughout the day. I saw Ryan was live earlier. Checked in on there. I saw O'Leary was live for 2 hours or whatever it was. I checked in on there. And then I looked again and nobody was alive. And I wasn't going to do this. This is like I'm doing my podcast and everything. I said, you know what? Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Ev Zoni thinks that tonight is the night. I don't know if I feel that way. Now, as we know, probably, you may not, but let's talk about it. Tomorrow is March 13th. Now, we've been talking about March 13th for a few months now, guys. And the reason being is that this is the very beginning of free agency, right? This is where they call it the legal tampering period. Some people call it the negotiating window. But generally speaking, what this means is that you're going to see who your free agents are. Now, last year at this time, not only was I in Sedona, Arizona, if you guys remember, I was still on my trip. It just shows how much life can change, how quickly, how transformative everything can really be on a daily, week to week, month to month basis. I was in Sedona, Arizona last year at this time. We were talking about our list of free agent hopefuls, right? We had all hoped that Braxton Berrios would be re-signed. We did not want him to leave. 99 out of 100 Jets fans wanted Braxton Berrios back. My number one, there he is. What's up, Jets Forever? Good to see you, buddy. There it is. And then number one free agents list. We all had our number one, but I think let me say a lot of Jets fans, myself included, number one position that the Jets needed to address last year was, we were talking about right guard because AVT was at left guard. Now, same difference because they knew that he's absolute versatility. See, I didn't tell my wife. Hold on. I didn't tell her that I was going to go live. Hey, I know I didn't tell you, but I'm live. I decided to go live. Okay. Can I call you back? All right. Bye. Yep, that's me telling my wife, oh, by the way, I'm going to be live. So we had guard, right? And it was right guard in our brain because AVT was over there, but the Jets knew about his just ultimate versatility. So they chose to go with left guard and move AVT to the right. Now, he'd only been playing for us for a year, so it's not like he's entrenched. Fine. So we went and we got left guard. Now, So that was most of our top position. We needed to fix that damn guard spot. Greg Van Roten was a mess. And Dr. Blocker was a fine fill-in, right? He improved, but still not the guy you necessarily want at this point in his career to depend on, right? So we went and we got our list of free agent guards, and a number one on a lot of our lists, mine included, was Laken Tomlinson. Why? Well, because he was a Pro Bowl, right? He was literally a Pro Bowler that year. So at the end of last year, he was in the Pro Bowl, so he's among the best in the NFL. And he had played, a year earlier was playing for our coaches, namely the offensive line coach, John Benton, who was here. Now look at the difference, guys. 1 year later, we don't have John Benton anymore, and not because he moved on to greener pastures. We fired him or chose to move on or whatever. So he's not here. Different offensive coordinator, different wide receivers coach, different run game coordinator. Like, it's all different. Laken Tomlinson had himself really a negative year. Not terrible, but there were games that were terrible. Overall, you can say he was okay, but certainly not what we were hoping for. Certainly not. And then you look at Berrios, again, among the Jets' hometown free agents, like our own, Berrios was way near the top of everybody's list. We wanted the Jets to re-sign Berrios. There was the rumor about $9 million and all that jazz, and we didn't want to pay that. And Joe Douglas got him for what we thought was a pretty good deal. Right? What we thought was a pretty good deal. And look at how the world has changed. I'm now in Virginia. It snowed here for the first time all year. Today, March 12th, we had a snowstorm. Unexpected. I didn't see it come. It was great. Nothing really stuck too much, but we got snow. And a year ago, I was in Sedona, Arizona. We're hoping for Laken Tomlinson and Berrios. Now we just cut Berrios. Laken Tomlinson is a guy that most Jets fans are unhappy with. And the whole coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball has changed, flipped, what have you. Isn't it amazing how quickly all this stuff changes? I want to welcome It's Snoopy to the Stream Beaners. Thank you, buddy. That is greatly appreciated. Our newest Stream Beaner, getting access to all the emojis as YouTube incrementally allows me to add benefits. Still, I'll say it, the weirdest thing in the world to me. I don't understand it. Why wouldn't YouTube just let me create my benefits and give them to you? Nope, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed. It's weird. I have them already on deck. Anyway, there's a bunch of fun ones in there for you now, Snoopy. And thank you, buddy. I sincerely appreciate it. It's how we stay viable out here, right? Super chats, memberships, green bean baggers, right? All those things. It's what helps us be able to do these things. So, guys, sincerely, the fact that I get to do this with you guys is still mind-blowing to me. I don't even understand why they want to listen to me. What the fuck am I? Jonathan Francois. Snoopy, you were the newest Stream Beaner member, but Jonathan Francois jumps right in there. It's like, the Snoop, like when it's like the contracts, like you're the highest paid safety, right? You get the highest paid safety contract and everybody, and then a week later, somebody signs for 100,000 more. You're like, oh. It's not even any real more money, but now I'm not the guy. So you are still the guy. You guys are the newest Stream Beaners, and I am grateful. Enjoy the emojis and the super chats that come with it and all that jazz. There he is, Dave Miller. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Glad you guys came over from the other side. I was looking for Bradigan to see what they're saying up there in Chicago. There it is. Okay, let's see. I'm actually recovering from, oh, no way, man. We got to talk, Chris. I'm really sorry to hear that. Milwaukee, from people I have come across, mostly Packers fan. Well, Chris, thank goodness that you're okay, buddy. I mean, man, we love you, And I'm really sorry to hear that. Obviously, I'm happy to hear that you're the key word recovering in a rehab in Milwaukee. But dude, please reach out. Reach out to me. Let's talk. If there's anything, even if I can just hang out with you for a little while, help your time in the hospital go quicker, that would be my pleasure as well. So please, and thank God that you're okay, buddy. I'm glad that you're here, even more so than I thought I was. You know what I mean? Let's see. Wow, that's heavy duty. Mojo says Santa has given us Jets fans coal every year. No, not true, Mojo Jets. He gives us lots of things that we ask for. We just don't use them right? Like every year, who wins the offseason every year, Mojo? Us. We've been doing that shit since 1992. Do you guys know? I don't know. Look, for all you fans that are fans since 1993-ish on, you guys became fans with free agency being a real thing. That didn't exist. So like I became a fan in 82. So I had 10 years. Granted, the first few, I was a kid. So I just watched on Sundays. I didn't know anything. But by the time free agency came, I was a 10-year guy. I was 20 years old. And I remember like Freeman McNeil was one of the players, great, New York Jets running back. He was among the people, the group that were lobbying for the NFL to allow free agency. They were like actually fighting the NFL in court that players should be allowed to not only sign their contracts, to fight, lobby for contracts and all that sort of stuff, but then if they don't like it, they can leave. And that's when they said, okay, that can happen, but then we do franchise tag. Then they created the transition tags and all those kinds of things. But there was a point when that didn't exist. And there was a lot of NFL fans. I remember sitting in a room. It was at my friend's house, Dallas Cowboy fan, but there were Steelers fans, Giants fans, Dolphin fans. It was like 20 of us in there. And there was a heated argument about it ruining the NFL. Free agency is going to ruin the NFL. So that's how different it was back then. But let me tell you this. You know who won the first year of NFL free agency? You could say the Packers because they're the ones that got Reggie White, right? But if it's not them, it is the New York Jets, man. We came out of the gate. The first ever free agency. We got Leonard Marshall from the crosstown rival Giants. Don't forget, he might not, looking back, be the biggest name and all that shit. But dude, it was in New York. It was Taylor, Banks, Marshall. That was their defense. That was the lead. And yet Gary Reasons and a bunch of other guys too. But those were the big names. And when we got Leonard Marshall to come over, it was a huge deal. Ronnie Lott came from the Niners over to the Jets. Okay. So we got him. We got Leonard Marshall, Ronnie Lott. Then we signed Boomer Esiason, a quarterback from the Bengals, Super Bowls and all that jazz. It's like, I mean, dude, we were talking to all sorts of people. Then we had the draft. We had the fourth overall or the third overall pick or fourth. We traded with the Niners to get Johnny Johnson, and then we grabbed Marvin Jones the next year. It was like a crazy period. The Jets came out of the gate. And they started this free agency era, winning the offseason, man. Mojo, they give us all sorts of great gifts. We just don't do anything with them. That's what happens. That's what happens, buddy. Jonathan Francois checking in with a super chat. Thank you. He says, A-Rod knows what he wants, just milking it now. Well, look, I'm going to talk about that, Jonathan. There could be lots of reasons why we are currently waiting. Right? Lots of reasons. And did you guys see the interview with Brandon Marshall and Aaron Rodgers? It's really, it's 5 minutes, if that. And it's really an enjoyable listen if you're just interested in getting to know this guy, right? It's really interesting. And you can gather, like he said a couple of things. One is he said this. Wait, let me see how he said it. Hold on. He said, shit. Let me get it. He said, sometimes your best isn't good enough. That doesn't mean it's a failure. That was fascinating. That's heavy duty, man. That's heavy. Sometimes your best isn't good enough. It doesn't mean you failed. I like that. That hit me really hard. But he talked about a few things. And one of the things you kind of gather from him is that all of his efforts out there are an attempt to get out of here. And the way he said it was, I wanted to get out of my head and into my heart. That's what he said. I'm a very heady person. So I'm trying to, all the things I do are trying to get myself out of here and into here so we can have a more grounded approach to people, scenarios, and all that. And you just get the impression that maybe he's not doing it like to milk it, like you're saying, Jonathan Francois. I think it's hard for us not to feel that way, right? But maybe, just maybe, he's just an incredibly thorough. He's just not going to move fast and make all these rash decisions and potentially regret. He's just going to do it in the time that it happens, So that's one thing. And it was an interesting interview. And you got to commend Brandon Marshall. There's a few things, and we'll talk about that. But just on this piece, Jonathan, maybe he's milking it, sure. But I believe that I think it's other than that. And I was told, up till yesterday morning, I was on the same side. Like, come on with this guy. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. What is this? Ask tomorrow. What are you doing? Why do you do this? Who's Carter? Matthew Stafford for Carter? Who's Carter? Can I not my fried out? Carter. I can't think of it. Dark Star. I don't know what I'm doing. What's my brain, buddy? Yoitz. Yoitz is checking in as a new stream beaner. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Oh, he says, I thought I was a member. Maybe not. That's okay. That's okay too. No pressure, right? But thank you. I know I'll say this is the last time I'm ever going to say it, Yoitz, because it's funny because people correct me all the time when I say it. They go, it's actually, it's Vin. Like, I'm aware. Yoitz. Yoitz is more fun to say, isn't it? Come on. What's more fun to say? It's Vin or Yoitz? I don't get to say Yoitz enough, Vin. I don't get to say Yoitz enough. Richard says he was going to the training camps back. That's right. That's where I went to training camp. I've never been to training camp at One Jets Drive. Now, interestingly enough, if you guys remember this, the New York Giants used to practice where the facility is now. It was a chunk of Fairleigh Dickinson University's campus, right? So I'm not sure exactly where it carves up and all that, but in the same basic area of Florham Park is Fairleigh Dickinson University. And the New York Giants used to play there or practice there. And that's where I used to go watch the Giants with my dad. My dad's a Giants fan. So I would do that. Let's see. You guys talking about, right, everybody. Chris Bradigan's a good dude, everybody. For real. He's been with us the whole time. The whole time we've been like online as a community, he's been with us. So he's a good dude. Yeah, well, Wild Track says he woke up and saw his shadow. So that means another 5 days. Well, look, tomorrow is a big day. And the thing is this, the Jets have to figure out if they're going to be able to sign this guy or that guy or whatever, because players are going to want to know. Are we going to be inhibited or prohibited from signing certain people because they don't know what our quarterback situation is? Maybe on defense, he can get some stuff done. Maybe we sign Jimmy Ward, right? Jimmy Ward's a free agent, right? I see Ryan in here. Ryan, is Jimmy Ward a free agent? I think, yeah, he is, right? It's all smeared in my head, man. I'm like, I don't know what it is this year. I'm kind of jumbled. More than usual. I'm jumbled. But maybe we can sign Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward has a Saleh connection, as we all know. The Niners moved him around last year, which word is he wasn't too psyched about. Very similar to LaMarcus Joyner up there in, for the Raiders. And he wants to go back to free safety. We need a free safety. You can very easily say Chuck Clark is your strong safety. And look, the word on the street is Jimmy Ward's value is approximately $7 million. And that's what we would save by cutting Jordan Whitehead. I mean, you still have the extra piece, the dead cap. So there's that. But as far as just that $7 million, you can basically flip Whitehead for Jimmy Ward. You already got Chuck Clark. It might be a way to go. But how much is that going to be, is that going to impact the idea of not having Rodgers? Can we tell free agents, like, look, we have him or whatever, can we do that if we do? So I don't know. Astamar Darkstar, thank you, buddy. He says, my Jet Insider says trade Monday, press conference Wednesday. I'm totally happy with that, Darkstar. And I'll tell you what, I hope you're right. I hope you really do have an insider. I hope it's not me. I hope I'm not your insider because I'm not inside. So there's that. My guy that I used to have, he doesn't work there anymore. I have a couple people. I get you guys know, I have people that are in there, but nobody that like is my insider. They tell me stuff every now and then. They go, hey, guess what? That's how I get stuff. Hey, you want to hear something? I'm like, yeah, I do. Can I say it? Sometimes they say no. I go, oh. Sometimes I go, yeah, say it. Just don't mention me. Okay, cool. Sometimes it does that. So I hope that's correct. But I think it makes sense that, like, look, the negotiating window starts at 12 noon tomorrow. 12 noon. So we have to figure this out before then. We have to figure this out at least, I mean, from a logical standpoint, right? Can we go into free agency into Wednesday? Like, will we lose free agents? Like, if we're looking to bring in that offensive weapon, that offensive lineman, and they're like, well, let's see. I can block for Aaron Rodgers, or I can be blocking for Zach Wilson. That's more than likely going to have impact. Your thoughts on Zach Wilson aside, it's going to have impact. And then they can be like, okay, well, the Saints are trying to get me. I got Derek Carr down there. I got Buffalo. I got Josh Allen up there. And then I got Zach Wilson down here. And if all the money's relatively equal, then you know which way they're going to go. Unless they just really want to play for us, which is possible, I suppose. Or we get into that scenario where we are overpaying like the jet tax days. You know what I mean? So I hope you're right. I hope it's all done. It's a funny thing. I didn't take the screenshot. I was going to do it, but there was you go to let me see if it works. Let me see here. New York Jets. It's a really funny thing. A couple tweets. Yeah, here it is. All right, I'm going to show you guys. Wait, let me just do this. Let me show you. So this is funny. Carlos A. becoming the newest stream beaner. Thank you, Carlos. You guys are rocking it today. This is awesome. Thank you. I so appreciate the support, guys. Sincerely. And I hope you enjoy the emojis. You guys should get me into adding 2 more emojis. That's what it should be. So I'll add them right after this stream. I promise. Let me see here. I think this is it. So just real quick, look at this. This is literally right next. You Google New York Jets today, and this is what we're seeing. Okay. Tom Pelissero says, despite a report to the contrary, the Packers and Jets have not agreed to the framework of an Aaron Rodgers trade, per sources. Both sides continue to await word from Rodgers on his plans. If he decides he wants to go to New York, then the teams will work to hammer out a deal. Now, right next to that, from my understanding on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, everything that needs to be done is essentially done in regards to a trade. Sides have worked out what needs to be worked out. So if Rodgers wants to be a Jet, he will be a Jet. Broken record, but I'm just waiting, on him to decide. So look at this. This is, can we possibly have 2 more conflicting reports? This is front, internet Google page. This is Google search New York Jets front page. That's what we're looking at. And then you got Denzel Mims, whatever the hell he's doing. What's Denzel Mims doing? What's he doing? I don't want to play. Let me see. They're gonna get me though. Let me. Oh, it's Twitter. Let me see.
He got game.
It's that movie with Ray Allen in it.
He got game.
There you go.
I ain't gonna lie, that's my favorite. My favorite one is He Got Game, man.
Coach Carter. Oh, there it is. Coach Carter, Friday Night Lights.
Oh, this is okay. I don't need to see that. Anyway, so there it is. So you see those conflicting reports. Like, what are we supposed to do? How can we make heads or tails of this, man? Right, Carlos? How are we supposed to do it? It's crazy, man. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Dark Star. Jason Edwards, our buddy, checking in. Thank you, Jason. Good to see you. Said, happy Sunday. Outside of offensive line in the draft, what is your second pick we should pick to help A-Rod win this chip for us? Go Jets, positive mental attitude. Well, here's the thing with that, Jason, is that I do believe, obviously, again, we say this all the time. Free agency is going to determine, yes, we know that. We know it's going to determine how we pick in the draft. But assuming all things are where they are right now, I think we need 2 of our picks to be offensive linemen. 2. And I wouldn't even be upset about 3. Honestly, I wouldn't. It doesn't matter to me about you used, Joe Douglas has used 4 picks on offensive line in his first 3 years, 2 of which were first-round picks, right? 2 top 15 offensive linemen, both injured last year. So we have that. So and then one of the other offensive linemen sadly had to retire. We know that, Cam Clark, because of the neck thing. And then Max Mitchell, we have the blood clot thing. So got some good dudes here, lots and lots and lots of potential. But I really do think that you need to just make sure the offensive line is a wall. That if somebody goes down, another guy steps right in and we don't miss a beat. It's paramount. So that all said, I do think we should be using 2 picks on offensive line. Now maybe they go and get Orlando Brown and Lindsley to trade for. Maybe they do that, and then I'm okay. I changed my tune, right? But assuming it's now, I think 2 picks. That said, I'm starting to think that a wide receiver is probably going to be in the mix. Now, if you look at this, Joe Douglas has taken a wide receiver in all 3 drafts. The latest is pick 58, and that was when he traded down for Denzel. He's used a top 10 pick on a wide receiver. He's used his top 2nd-round pick, which was 34, if I remember correctly, on a wide receiver, Elijah Moore. We didn't take any later, right? Later than that? I don't think. So history would tell us, Jason, that Joe Douglas likes to granted, we were a wasteland for wide receivers when he got here. So there's that. But it looks like he knows certain positions, line, wide receiver, cornerbacks. You need to just keep bringing dudes in. You just keep doing it. And like Joe Douglas said perfectly, a luxury today can be a necessity tomorrow, man. You don't look at it like that. You look at the best possible player that you can bring on your team that you can use. That's it. So I would say wide receiver is another one. So offensive line, wide receiver. I'm not really into the running back idea. I've heard some people talking about that. I don't know. I don't think running back, tight end. I know it's a deep and strong tight end class. Unless they're trading one of them, maybe they're throwing Conklin into the Rodgers trade or something. I don't know, something like that. But other than that, I think we're good at tight end. And then they can bring one in and move Yeboah out, whatever they think is best. But I'm looking for safety. I'm looking for linebacker. I'm looking for big run-stuffing defensive tackle. That's kind of where I am, in addition to the offensive line. Moose checking in. Says, what's up, GreenBean? Well, what's up with you, Moose City? I think it's a big decision for A-Rod. He has been with GreenBean GreenBean. See that? That's why I can't wait till this shit's over, Moose, because every time I see GB, I think it's me. Every time I have to go, oh, no, that's Green Bay. Every time, dude. So it's not easy over here. He's been with Green Bay his entire career, right? His whole career. I think we find out tomorrow what happens. And that's fair, right? Like if we look at this as humans, right? Look at what if it's us? What if it's me? I've worked at the textile plant that I work at since 2005. So 19 years, is it? Something like that? 18 years? 18 years. I've had kids. My kids are in, my son, he's already in college. I've been working here the whole time. And then I get another job. I get an offer. It looks like this job's kind of changing, the new boss or whatever. And I'm like, and then I got a decision to make. Would I want to take a second and process it and think and look at all the options and really breathe? And you know what I mean? Wouldn't I want to do that? And then meet with the owner, meet with the bosses, and then, take a second, right? Wouldn't I? I think I would. Maybe not. I think I would. I've met with owners of companies before. I've been courted and met with, owners and had the whole thing and it all sounded great. Went home, sat on it for 2 days and said, I'm not coming. I've done that. And they cried and begged and I still said no. That's not true. The other part is, and I don't think it's realistic. Now, it sucks on our end. I get it, right? Clearly, we're all in the same boat over here. But, what about him? And with all this spiritual stuff, that he's been doing, again, he said, I'm trying to get out of my head and into my heart. That's the whole purpose of what he does, which I think is cool, man. I really do. Agree with his methods or not, that's fine. But trying to do that, he said, I'm a heady guy and I'm trying to get out of my head and into my heart in my dealings with, he said, with people, teammates, situations. What else did he say? He said, loved ones. He said all that stuff. He said, I'm trying to get out of my head and into my heart. That's not easy. So it probably takes a second. You know what I mean? Hey, Tony Alexio, dude, you won something the other night. Tony, don't forget my email is in the description. Email me. You won. You know what you won? Hold on. You won one of these. So you got to tell me which one you want. These are Liquid IV, guys, sponsor of the show. You can save 20%. The promo code and link is in the description. Use the promo code GreenBean Jetsfan, all one word, save 20%. But you can pick the energy multiplier or the hydration multiplier. This is lemon lime, and this is yuzu pineapple, buddy. Okay? Yuzu pineapple. I actually didn't try this one. I tried the other energy one. It's like a lemon ginger. It's good. But email me, tell me your address, social security number, stuff like that, your address and which one you want, and I'll ship it out to you. Okay? Congratulations. There you are. There he is, everybody. If you guys see Clifford Canty, you want a t-shirt as well. Please reach out to me so I can send you your winnings. Okay. So yeah, thank you though, man. Harris says, what do you think is the holdup? Rodgers' indecision or contract? I think it's probably like Moose was just saying. I think there's some reflection aspects. There's some of that sort of stuff. They're going to make sure that it's the right decision for him. That's what I think is part of it. I do believe once we got permission to speak with him, there's no doubt in my mind that the Jets and Packers worked their deal out. They know. They're not going to wait. That's the stupidest friggin' report I've ever seen. The Jets and Packers are waiting until he says something before they start working. What are we talking about? This makes no sense to me. Does Joe Douglas strike you as a guy that's just going to sit around and wait. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to think about it until I know. No, he looks like a guy who's going to work everything out. Like, and why wouldn't they? It makes sense. Like if he says, okay, I'm ready to go, they're going to want to nail it down. Both sides. Don't forget, the Packers still have all that money on their cap. That's going to impact their free agency, all that sort of stuff. Right? So they're going to want to know, and they already know. Now, Sauce, like he was alluding to, whether he knows anything or not, Sauce Gardner, that is, I do think that there's a very realistic side to the idea that there's packages like players. There's also rumors. I was reading an article earlier that Elijah Moore, there's a little rumor that Elijah Moore is part of the deal. Not Corey Davis. They already have Watson and whatever. So maybe they want Elijah Moore. That would be interesting too. Phil's in here, Big Frank's in here. All you guys are the best. Scott V. Eric Duncan's in here. Look at you guys. You guys are awesome. Now, the Brandon Marshall explosive diarrhea says, don't worry. The Brandon Marshall conversation told us everything. Now, I don't know. I didn't hear that in there. I know what people are saying. You're probably alluding to the last sentence, right? So it was a good interview. They're talking stuff. It's good. Short, but good. And then he says, how was meeting Woody Johnson? And he goes, oh, it's always interesting to meet people from, big names in the sports world or important people in the sports world. And then he goes, come on. What's going on? And he says, I'm not going to say anything more than that. But then he ends it with, how did he say it? Oh, shit. I just slipped my mind. Hold on. Let me see how he said it. He said, like, we'll see. More to be revealed, or whatever the hell he said. Basically said, the decision will be made quickly, in the very near future. He said there's a time limit to this sort of stuff because there's a time limit. We only have a certain amount of time. It has to be done by a certain amount of time. So there's that. But then he said, what was that? Forgive me. He said, what the hell did he say? I forget how he said it, but he said something like, we'll see, or more. Well, I don't know. Forget it. I thought I knew, but maybe I don't. Maybe I don't know. Let me see. I'll try to find it. He said it won't be long. That's what he said. It won't be long. So we can deduce that means that it's done and all that. Sure. But I'm not necessarily hearing that. Maybe. Sean Fairley, good evening from Scotland. Good evening to you, sir. All fun and games. Go Rodgers, go Jets. It's amazing. Well, good. I'm glad that you're here, dude. What a cool thing. I can't wait to go to Scotland, man. It's technically where my genes come from. Scotland. Because my last name would be McPherson if that father didn't abandon me when I was a baby. My bloodline says McPherson, but it's M-A-C, which generally speaking means means Scottish instead of M-C, which in most, not all, but most instances means Irish. But yeah, that guy, he left. Chrome says, as a former Jets insider, I can confirm a trade is happening this century. Well said. Well done. That's good. So if you guys haven't seen the Brandon Marshall interview, it really is good, man. And again, it's very short. It's like, I think it's 5 minutes at most. And when you watch it, you learn a little bit about him. Again, like I said, that one statement, sometimes your best isn't good enough, but that doesn't mean it's a failure. I love that, man. Hey, Jeremy's here. What's up, Jeremy? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see Jeremy from Jets Chaos in the house. So, yeah, don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Anthony's saying, Luppy, OU812, 330 watching and only 101 likes. Yeah, let's hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, that's a great thing to do as well. Lots of fun things we can do to show support for one another out here. Robbie wants you to hit the like button as well. All right, let's do it. I'm going to hit it. Did I hit it? I think I hit it. Where is it? Okay. So the Brandon Marshall injury is worth a watch, truly. All right, so E-Boogie is a member for 2 months. Congratulations, E-Boogie. Let me find this for you. Where is he? I see the alert. E-Boogie. Emoji man himself. Where'd it go? Here, hold on. It sucks because when I copy and put it up there, it's not going to look the same. The emojis don't show up, but hold on. Here it is. But E-Boogie, congratulations and thank you. He's been a member for 2 months. This is your 2-month anniversary. And I'm grateful for you, man. Here it is. There it is. Thank you, E-Boogie. I see you might have a super chat as well. Let's see what E-Boogie's got to say. E-Boogie, E-Boogie, wherever he goes, I'm going to go. E-Boogie, E-Boogie, I teach him everything that I know. Remember that song? Everybody? Remember the product? Anybody know what that was? E-Boogie, 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 right? You remember the song. There it is. E-Boogie checking in. Thank you, buddy. He says, can the Jets be able to get a top free agent? Well, I think what we have to look at is the way the Jets have held themselves since Joe Douglas has been here. And there's really 2 ways you could see it. Like, so the contingent of Jets fans that aren't they're not liking the idea that Joe Douglas is a good GM, right? They're out there, right? There's plenty of Jets fans that are just still kind of, he hasn't proven enough to them. We haven't had a winning season yet. There's definitely reasons, right? But one of the main reasons, E-Boogie, is the free agency that Joe Douglas has put together. Now, Joe Douglas has kind of hit or miss in free agency, right? But again, from my vantage point, you have to look at what he's doing. So, placing guys like Ryan Khalil on the list of bad free agents, in my opinion, is a way off base. Right? Way off base, because he got here after everything with free agency's over, draft is over, everybody signed, and he had no offensive line. McCagnon didn't do shit for the offensive line. So he went out there and he talked the guy out of retirement. Just said, hey man, I'll give you $8 million. Come on, play 1 year for me. And he's done that a few times, not with retirement, but he's kind of brought players in for a year. And what does that mean? And like Pierre Desir, not a great signing. Pierre Desir wasn't all that good. I don't even think he was as good as we thought he was going to be. And he wasn't even great, right? But he had a pretty bad time here. But it's not like Joe Douglas gave him a 4-year contract and he played like that. Give him 1. Let me sign him for a year. Did the same thing with Jared Davis or Gerard, right? Jared Davis. 1 year. So, yeah, those guys didn't work out, but there's another side to it. It's like he's trying to build his team through the draft. So that's what he's been doing, right? He got here, he flipped Leo, he flipped Jamal, he flips Sam. He creates a whole new draft class. Avery Williamson cuts Le'Veon Bell, Tremaine Johnson, Quincy Enunwa, Kelechi Osemele. He gets rid of all these bloated contracts, and he eats it. At the same time, he flips it into draft capital because he wants to build the team through the draft. Meantime, he's got to have people that play on the damn team. So he signs a bunch of guys. If you look at what he did too, he signs a lot of former first-round picks, particularly at wide receiver. Dotson, Perryman, Corey Davis. Like, he signs all these guys. Why? Why would he sign Perryman for 1 year? Well, because if it works out, he's got the inside track to signing him. It's great. He got him for nothing. He's all right. He's here. Everything's working. We just re-sign him. If not, he leaves with no fuss, no muss, and he applies to the comp pick formula. It's really kind of smart. And over the past 2 years, we've seen him give out more contracts that are a little bit more substantial. Now, you could say Laken Tomlinson was a flop. You can. We don't know. He's going to be here this year. Maybe he comes out and has a great year, and then we feel differently, right? But last year was definitely disappointing, especially for guys who were lobbying for him like me, right? I couldn't believe the Ravens game. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like watching him like, what is he doing, dude? Like, what is happening? So then you look at the other side, you got DJ Reed and Jordan Whitehead, and he gives 2-year contract. He's not terrible, but he's certainly not what we wanted to see. It's not what we were hoping for, right? Not terrible. Had good games and has definitely had an impact, but he's also tied for most missed tackles on the team with 17. So it's a hit or miss kind of a thing, but you look at like Corey Davis. Is Corey Davis a success or a fail? Well, it depends. I think it's a disappointment no matter how you slice it. I think we were hoping for more out of Corey Davis, for sure. So I label that depending on what happens. If we can apply him to a trade and get something, or if he stays with us and he has a great year, right? It's still not done, but so far I look at Corey Davis as a disappointment. I don't think he's a very good free agent sign. But it's hit or miss with him. But again, if you look at what he's done so far, the one thing I can tell you is that it looks to me like he tries to stay away from the marquee big name guys as we try to trade for Aaron Rodgers. That's what it looks like. Like he's like tier 2. Like that's where he's hanging out, right? In tier 2, he's trying to take his big swings, Tyreek Hill. He's trying to do those things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But he's like hanging out in tier 2 because the major portion of what he's doing is his draft. That's how he's building his core. He's trying to plug people in like a DJ Reed. He's trying to take a DJ Reed and plug him in there and have him work out. He's trying to take a Jordan Whitehead, a Laken Tomlinson, plug him in and have him work out. Connor McGovern is a very good free agent signing. Great? No, but very good. He's been the mainstay on our offensive line for 3 years. So again, I think it's tough to see what Joe Douglas is going to do. Now, as far as the New York Jets, the New York Jets have gone out after the top free agents for years. So that's kind of what we've been doing for a long time. So yeah, that's kind of what I see, Boogie. It's hard to put a finger on it, but I think Joe Douglas, look, we just cleared in total in 3 days, we cleared $15.2 million. Just so happens that Aaron Rodgers cost $15 million. To me, looks interesting. And I think what we're seeing is Joe Douglas is going to work out trades. I'm sorry, free agent signings. He's going to work out the signings. And if they work, he's going to release the guy that he's replacing or needs the money for. That's what I think is happening. And it's smart and dicky, right? Like you want to host a lot of these guys. You want to see guys like the guys would want to be released. Like, let me out. If you're not going to use me, let me go out there and lobby for the first wave of free agency is the biggest money. That's when everybody's fighting with each other for certain guys. And the players want to be involved in that. Wait, real quick, Leo. TX Disney, Texas Disney. GreenBean, I thought you'd be in the now as relaxed. I am relaxed. Am I not relaxed, TX? Or Texas? I am relaxed, buddy. Am I not coming across as relaxed? Leo Vernacchio, what's up, Leo? Last week's shirt winner. Now, like Clifford Canty, this week you got to send me your info. Leo shirt went out. I don't think you got it yet. Probably get it Tuesday or something like that. But anyway, gave me his information, right? Leo, right to it, buddy. I don't want more in a deal. Why? He's a slot stud. I am with you, dude. I am. Again, I want to reiterate, I've said it numerous times, and I'll say it again. I was not, and nor will I ever be, supportive of how he handled that situation. Wrong. 100%. But that doesn't mean that the downturn in his production wasn't valid. Like the concern with where it's coming from wasn't valid. That it was Mike LaFleur and then Zach Wilson. So you got LaFleur, who's, Elijah Moore's having huge issues with. And then you got Zach Wilson that even when he throws it to him, he's throwing it into the dirt, throwing it over his head. It's fucking terrible. Poor guy. So, you look at Moore had 58 catches for 500 and change, 5 touchdowns, something like that. Let's take a look. Why play games, right? Elijah Moore is my, you guys notice I do that? Whenever I'm going to go to thing, I sing. Elijah Moore and his stats for you. Okay, here we go. We'll play it. It's kind of my thing, I think. It's not that I planned it. It's just what happens. Let's look at Elijah Moore's stats so we can just see, right? And we don't see, I forget off the top of my head. So he had 43, not 50 receptions. He had 43 receptions. In 2021, his rookie year, he played 11 games. Now, in the beginning, remember game 1, he had that big drop? Against Sam Darnold, but Zach Wilson, like a 50-yard bomb. It landed right in his hands, and he dropped it. Remember that? It was a tough catch. It was. He had to jump and dive, but still, he should have caught that shit. So it started there. Now, we had that period of time from weeks like 7 to 11, something like that, where he was literally a top 5 receiver in the NFL, won Rookie of the Week, had a bunch of touchdowns, all those types of things. So we saw the potential. But overall, he had 43 receptions, 538 yards, 5 touchdowns, 24 first downs with a long of 62 yards. His catch percentage was just 55.8. Had a couple rushes, right? So he had 5 rushes, 54 yards, and he also had that other touchdown. So he gave us 6 touchdowns. Total. Then he comes into this year, and we noticed it right away. What were we all saying after week 1 and week 2? Elijah Moore is open all day. It's only a matter of time. We were all saying it. Why? Because it's true. And when you watched the All 22 afterwards, if any of you guys did that with me, you see it, dude. It's incredible. Like he's open all the time. And then there was that period, I think it was week 2, week 3, where we were sending him down the sideline. Remember that? Just send that. That's all we did with Elijah Moore. It was like a written up streak, just a fly pattern, and then toss it. And he's like, the guy's blanketing him, and he's bad pass. It just didn't work. I think one game we had 3 of them. Stupid. So I'm of the school of thought. What we see here, this 37 receptions for 446, it felt like a lot less, right? Look, it's only 6 receptions less. You know what I mean? But the touchdowns aren't there. The first downs are close. 5 rushes, same thing, for 5 yards instead of 54. No touchdowns. So it was significantly different, but it's not that far off. But what we're seeing is a guy that's pretty much been underutilized. So you're going to use, they called him a first-round pick. They had him as their 13th overall player. They got him in, I think it was 13th, something like that. They got him at pick 34. Isn't that what it says? Let's see. Yeah, 34. Look, my brains. Look at my brains, everybody. So he's got 80 receptions for 984 yards and 6 touchdowns in his career. And he's just waiting to pop. Like we used that 34th overall pick, which is a premium pick, everybody. That's the second pick in the second round. That is premium stuff. And they had him as the 13th overall player. 446 is not enough. He should be an 800-yard receiver, in my opinion. And I think we could. I mean, now, Leo, it all just depends on how much, like maybe Elijah Moore makes it so you only have to give a 3rd-round pick for him or something like that. You got to factor those things in. I will say I'm hoping Elijah Moore stays. I would like to see what a real quarterback and a veteran offensive coordinator can do with this kid. I mean, he's only in year 3, dude. What is he, 24 years old? What does it say? Dude, he's 22 years old. So he'll turn 23 in at the end of this month. He's 22. That's the thing. Dude, even these guys that we're looking at as maybe we want to move on, Becton is 23. Zach is 23. Elijah Moore is 22. Like, there's so much here, man. So Leo checks back and he says, how realistic to getting Jamal Williams, right? We saw that too. What do you guys think of that? I'm going to put that in a poll. I'm really curious if you guys want to see the Jets do that. Whoop. Hold. Oh, come on. Come on, fingers. There we go. I'm really curious. Should the Jets go get Jamal Williams? Let's take a look at him. All right, yes and no. That's it. Okay. I'm really curious to see what I want to get a finger on the gauge. I want to on the pulse. See what you guys are feeling with this one. Let's do this. Whoops. Whoops. All right. So Jamal Williams is 27 years old. Whoops. Don't do that. Come on. What is this? Okay. I had Jamal Williams on my fantasy team last year, so he was pretty good. There were some weeks, man, let me tell you. I want to look at this, just to look at the last year. So he's been coming on, man. But look, 16 games. He's available, but he's not starting, right? So he's 2 games. He's available 14, only started 2. But starting is weird, right? That's not necessarily a thing. So he's available all 17 games last year. And they have 2 backs, so he's not necessarily starting the games. That's fine. But he has 262 for 1,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 65 first downs, guys, along of 58. And he added 12 receptions on 16 targets for 73 yards, no touchdowns, and 4 more first downs. So that's a nice, I wouldn't say... the safety blanket, but he can provide that as well. Sorry. Hold on. I got to plug some stuff in here. Hold on. I'm going to fix my lights too. I don't know why my lights aren't working. Hold on, everybody. What's going on down here? Oh, there it is. Let me see. Yeah. All right. You see it? Okay, Santa Claus, what you gonna do today? All right. Okay, we're back. All right, but let's take a look at it. What's going on with him? All right, let's do this. Jamal Williams. Let's look. It's going on with Jamal Williams. 2-year, the Detroit Lions, let me see. I believe, let's see here. Yeah, he's free. So he's an unrestricted free agent. I want to see what they don't have it. I want to see what his market value. Oh, let me see. So they're talking about $4.1 million. Now, this is spot track. This is just their estimation, right? We don't know if it's going to be this or not. But let me tell you this. They're pretty good with this. Like, they're actually pretty good with this stuff. So 4.1 million, it seems, right, we're letting James Robinson go. It seems like they didn't really like him. Like they did. Ryan said it best on the stream the other night. And I believe this. When Brees went down, James Robinson is a good back. He's a good back. I don't think he's a great back, but he's a good back. When Brees Hall went down, the fact that Joe Douglas that evening went and traded for James Robinson showed the team. It was more of a message. We are not giving up on this season. Do not get your heads down. Come on, let's go. And it worked. Everybody felt at that moment like good. Everybody liked that move, right? Now, the fact that we didn't use him in his strength, like the key game is the Vikings game, dude. It's just ridiculous that we were like, inside the red zone 6 times. We were inside the 10, like 3. We were inside the 5, I think twice. And we didn't give that guy the ball one time. He's standing on the sideline. He's 8 for 8 from the 10-yard line out, getting into the end zone. 8 for 8. And you don't even give it to him? We're dancing around. Fucking LaFleur's got all kinds of shifts and motions, and this guy's throwing it to him, and he's throwing it back to him, and then you take a shot, and then they hacky sack it. That's what they were doing. And what is this? Corey Davis says, talk smack now, fool. What's Corey Davis doing here? Thanks for hanging out with us, Corey Davis. Now, Corey, let's be real. You could have probably ponied up more than $2 for us, huh? What do you think? Did Corey did something happen? Let me see. Let's see. Did something happen with Corey Davis? Let me see. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. But Corey, thanks for stopping by. I'm just kidding about the $2. You don't owe me anything, buddy. All right. Ray Danger checking in. I almost said Danger. Ray Danger. I've been a Jets fan since the Richard Todd days. Me too. That's when I came in. I can't believe we have a GM that drafted the offensive and defensive rookies of the year. JD is my God. Now, look, Ray, for you and me, so we're very, very similar. Now, maybe one of us is a year or two earlier than the other, whatever. I came in 82. I watched a few games in 81, but you know what I mean? I became a Jets fan at the end of 82. So 83 was like my real first season watching the Jets, like actually knowing when it was coming on and watching it on Sundays and such. But if you've been hanging around for that long, like Ray and I, you see it, man. You know what it is to be a Jets fan and how piss poor our general managers have been. I mean, it's atrocious. And the thing is, if you look over, like, for many, many years, like the guys running the Jets football operations were not football guys. For a long time, they were businessmen. That's who it is. They know it. We have nobody up top that knew football since Weeb. Then we went and got Dick Steinberg. Dick Steinberg was a very good general manager. Now, he had his major blunders. No, it's namely at the top is Blair Thomas. But everybody would have taken Blair Thomas up there. You know, at least half the teams would have taken Blair Thomas. That was back before running backs were devalued and the whole thing. He was far and away the number one running back prospect in the class. And he sucked ass so bad. He looked, the moment he put on I'm telling you, he never looked good. He had a couple games, the one Bears game. Remember the Bears game? We all talk about it. Anyway, Dick Steinberg was a good GM. He built the team with Marvin Washington, Jeff Lageman, Dennis Byrd, like all those guys. And that was a very good team. So he built that. And then he passed away, and Rich Kotite took over. Rich Kotite, who was the head coach that Leon Hess fired Pete Carroll for, he just let him be the GM. So Rich Kotite, believe it or not, was not only a terrible coach, he was our general manager. Now, the interesting thing about it is that he put together a very strong team. He did. We had lots of good players. You know, Adrian Morrell, Jeff Graham, Keyshawn Johnson, Wayne Krebet, Hugh Douglas, Mo Lewis, like all those guys. Well, he didn't pick Mo Lewis, I don't think. No, he did not. But as you know, we know what that ended like. But then we went and got after Rich Kotite. Who the hell was our GM after Rich Kotite? So Rich Kotite, then we got Parcells. That's right. So then Parcells took over. And as great as Parcells is on many levels, he set this franchise back for years, at least as far as, you know, not getting, you know, not proper utilization of the assets that we had. Now, he did end up when Belichick left. But think about this. We could have had Peyton Manning and Bill Belichick. Instead, we got picks and stuff like that. So and he had the 2000 draft class, and that's all well and good. But then we had Herm Edwards and Terry Bradway. Terry Bradway was a joke, dude, as a GM. He's the guy who took Nugent, the kicker, with the second round pick after using his first to get the tight end. I always want to say Rick Dudley. What the hell is his name? From the Raiders. Remember him? Not Ricky Dudley was a center from the Knicks who couldn't hit free throws. Really good center. Great. Did his job. Good rebound. But he couldn't hit free throws. Remember that guy? Rick Dudley. But I always think that's the guy. It's not him. It's a different guy. But anyway, Terry Bradway was that guy. Then we get rid of him and we get who the hell was next? Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum did a good job. But he was traded. He's crazy. Like, we saw it. He did a lot of foolish things. He was very exciting. If Mike wanted a player, he was getting that player. Like, that's who he was. And he did some really great things. A good GM. Ultimately, Rex got him fired. And then we had Idzik and McCagnon, and here we are. So Joe Douglas, by comparison, is night and day. It really is. If you've been hanging out like Ray from Richard Todd, you see it. Doesn't mean you have to like Joe Douglas, but you see the difference. Jonathan Francois checking in. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate you, buddy. He says, the reason we severely overpaid for guys like Mosley and Tremaine Johnson is because we've drafted so poorly. Correct. We've never had guys to pay. Now we have guys that deserve it, like Q, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, ABT. Very, very good point. Our drafts were jokes because of, like I just told you, with that boring diatribe about the history of our general managers. It's because we had those guys that we were so poor at utilizing the draft to get our talent. It was a waste every year, man. We'd get one guy here, one guy there. So we had to go out in free agency. You're exactly right, Jonathan. And then because we sucked so bad, we had to overpay in free agency on top of it, right? And that's what you see. Like, dude, even guys like Tremaine Johnson, like, we overpaid Tremaine Johnson to come here, and he was garbage. Now, the interesting thing with Tremaine Johnson is that the Rams franchised him twice. Why did they do that? Because they didn't want to give him a long-term contract. They said, okay, we like him. He's good. He was a good cornerback. He was. But they kind of milked him till the end, and then they let him run, and we overpaid him to come here, and he was garbage. You know what had happened? You guys know exactly why Tremaine is garbage. Hold on a second. Did I? Okay, no, all right. I thought I missed a bunch of super chats. Okay, I got to make sure I don't miss these. I don't have Jeremy here today. You know why? You know when it stopped for Tremaine Johnson? Like, he came over here. Now, he was older. He was never going to be great. He was never going to be great for us. But if you guys remember this, he picked off a pass. Remember the first game of Sam Darnold's career? In Detroit. Right. In Detroit. Sam Darnold throws the pick six, his first ever NFL pass, and he comes back, plays lights out. Great game. Hero ball. Fantastic. Yay, Sam. Well, Tremaine Johnson picked off a pass in that game. Turned around and started to run with it. He was all loose and awesome. So that was his first game as a Jet. He got absolutely crushed. So hard that he was out the rest of the game. I think he was out for like 2 weeks. Concussion and everything else. He was never the same player. It was as if he realized, like, he's getting older and he can get hurt, and he was done. He played half effort the whole time he was here. Remember, Greg Williams didn't even want him. He fucking benched him. So I don't give a shit that you make the most money. You suck, dude. You're not even trying. No, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what he said. Something like that, I'm sure. But you're nailing it, Jonathan. It's so right. And we have to overpay these guys to even consider coming here. Remember, Avery Williamson said it last offseason. He said he was about to re-sign, I think it was, with the Titans. He said it was almost a done deal. It was just, yep, the money was agreed upon. I was about to sign, and the Jets came in last minute and blew their offer off the table. He said, I had to take it. Then the next year, while the same GM is ignoring the offensive line and wide receivers, here he just overpaid a middle linebacker to come here. Fine, Avery Williams had a great first year with us. He really did. Better than CJ Mosley's, quite frankly. But so he was a very, very good player, and we liked him. But then you go out and you overpay and give the biggest contract in NFL history to another middle linebacker. Like, where's the logic in this? Michael Gonzalez checking in. Thank you, buddy. He says, Green Bean Jets fan since the 70s. Let the good times roll. Let's go. I'm with you, man. So the 70s, let me ask you, were you around when Namath was still playing? He played here till what, 75, 76, something like that? Were you around, Michael? No, I'll try to see it, but it's hard to see the reply, but that would be so interesting. Like for the fans that became fans, like me in the 80s, right? Like, even though it's hard to remember a lot of that stuff, like there are certain things that stick out, like the sack exchange. The sack exchange sticks out to me, man. It's almost as if that was all I was watching because I remember it. I watched that defensive line. Like my eyes were on Gastineau, Klecko, Marty Lyons, and Salam the whole game. I just watched them. They were amazing, dude. They were amazing to watch. And then on offense for me, the guys that stick out are Wesley Walker now and Freeman McNeil at that period. Then right after that, Al Toon became a thing. And the thing that stuck out was what? Toon in the stands. I loved it. The Toon thing, that was the first player that we ever had in my life that happened. You know, anybody with a ooh in their name or an O, we always yell, oh, ooh, that's what we do. So the thing is across the NFL. But Toon was the first guy that happened to for me. And it sparked something in my heart. Like I couldn't believe it. Like looking around, like, yeah, it was just so exciting to me. So I would imagine that Namath would have done something, like thinking back and saying like, yeah, I watched Joe Namath play for the Jets. That would have to be a killer memory. Like that severely trumps Gastineau. You know what I mean? Like now Klecko's going to the Hall. That's great and all. But Namath is a legend, dude. Legend. I mean, dude, when you go to the Hall of Fame, so I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to get tickets and go to the Hall of Fame this year, right? I'm sure. A lot of you that have never been there or haven't been there in 10 years or more, when you go there, oh, big news. Hold on, we'll get right to Joe Namath. They have a marquee attraction. It's the locker room thing, the hologram show. And Joe Namath is the host. Dudes, he's still that relevant. Astamar Darkstar says, Green Bean wants Toon, Walker, and Freeman McNeil back, baby. That's exactly right. You know it, Astamar Darkstar. Shit, I just want the next version of it, man. Like Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and gimme, even if it's Elijah Moore, in my opinion, it's Denzel Mims, I'd be psyched. All right, let me catch up here. Cahill jumping in. Quincy. So this is Quincy Williams we're talking about. Thank you, Thomas. Grekix says Quincy re-signed 3 years, $18 million. Wow, that's $6 million a year, dude. That's not bad. Well, it's on the high side, actually. We were thinking 5. So anyway, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. We thought he was going to ask for more. So he doesn't go and see free agency. That's nice. We scoop him up before it even happens. Congratulations. What do you guys think? So I'm going to end the Jamal Williams poll right now. I want to see 61% of you guys said that you'd like to see the Jets go out there and get Jamal Williams. I would be happy with it too. I like Jen for $4 million. What if you get him for $3 million? You get him for $3.3 million. I think Jamal Williams is an upgrade over the Ty Johnsons, James Robinsons of the world. Mikey, like if you have if you have a stable of Breece Hall, Jamal Williams, Michael Carter II, and Bam Bam Bigelow, dude, that is studly. 2 running back sex. 2 running back sets all day, every day, baby. You know what I mean? So, dude, look at this. Grekix checking in. Thomas Cahill checking in with the big news. What are you saying bye for? What happened? I can't look at the news, Chris. I got to wait for you guys to tell me. I'm running a show over here. Quincy Williams. Mitt Flair checking in. Quincy Williams, 3 years, $18 million. Think about how patient we are. How impatient we are. We're talking about minutes. Already we're mad at me. Relax, everybody. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Michael Gonzalez checking in with the word yes. So he's psyched. I imagine that's about Quincy Williams signing a 3-year, $18 million contract extension. Now, I wonder if that means that Quan is in or or is out, or they're working on something. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that means anything? Thank you, Michael. Jonathan Francois, check it back in. A-Rod news going to break and GreenBean won't notice for like 10 minutes. Well, what is it going to do? You know what I mean? I'm catching up. Why are you guys making fun of me? We got a new member, Fernando Velez. Thank you for coming, the newest stream beaner. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Enjoy all the emojis. I'm telling you right now, I can definitely add new emojis now with all of you fine fellas that have joined the stream beaners today. You guys are awesome. And again, YouTube restricts. So this is definitely going to get me into the deal where we're going to add some new stuff. All right. Here he goes. Dom C checking out. Quincy asked for 7.5 a year. We said 5, met him. Doesn't that sound so logical, Dom? Right? Does that sound logical? Right? I asked for this. You don't want to pay it. You want to pay this. We meet in the middle. Doesn't that sound good? What is this? A monkey man keeps writing. He can't keep getting away with it. What does that mean? Who is he talking about, everybody? I'm gonna put you in a timeout because you're. I'll wait. I'll give you a chance to explain yourself. Amazing. What is he can't keep getting away with it? I don't understand what he. That's it. I'm pushing you out of here. You're in a timeout. Let's see. All right. Michael Gonzalez started with the West Walker just as. All right. Yes, you came just after Joe Willie. Yeah, man. Yeah, so you don't have the opportunity to watch it. So let's take a look. Let's go over here and see what we got here. All right, hold on. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. All right. All right. So who broke it? Was it Rappaport? Who broke it, guys? Let's see. Was it Ian Rapp? There it is. So they're saying Tom Pelissero might have broken it. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. And so, look, if Tom Pelissero is breaking this one, guys, then maybe, just maybe, he's the one saying that nothing's been done with the Packers and the Jets as far as working on a deal. He's the one who said that. So, yeah, man. So what do you guys think? I'm going to put it in the poll. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. What do you guys feel? What does this mean for Quan Alexander? What does it mean for Quan? And do you want him back? What does the Quincy signing mean? What does it mean for Quan? He's next. He's out. Or nothing. I'm going to leave those two. He's next or he's out. What do you guys think? The poll is up. I'm very curious. Going into this offseason, I felt very strongly that it was going to be Quan or Quincy that was re-signed. I think a lot of us leaned Quincy because of the obvious relationship with his brother and all that jazz. And Quinnen is out there. He's actually said that he would take less money for his brother. So is this the less money? Quincy wanted 7.5, we're hearing. Quincy made, he wanted 7.5. The Jets offered him 5. We settled at 6. Is any of that applicable to what Quinnen wanted? Maybe $1 million off? Do we get $1 million off for Quinnen? All right. This is exciting, man. Let me see here. All right. Well, look. Jets agreed to terms with Quincy Williams, 3-year, $18 million deal that maxed out at $21 million incentives per source. Williams played the last 2 seasons with little brother Quinnen, and the Jets posting consecutive 100 tackle seasons. Rapport said the Bucs and wide receiver Russell Cage reworked his contract to create space. A big question out there, right, is what about the quarterback for the Bucs? That's going to be interesting. Well, look, so the former franchise tag defensive tackle, this is Darren Payne. So this is the one that's going to impact the Quinnen Williams signing. 4 years, $90 million. So that is what? What's 9 divided by 4, everybody? Anybody know? Well, divided by 3 would be 30 million. So it's a little less than that. What is it? Let me do it. I don't know. 9 divided by 4. Holy macaroni. All right. Let's see. 9 million divided by 4. Whoops. 9 divided by 4. 2.25. So that's 22 million a year. $22.25 million a year. What do you think? You think that's Quinnen? So Michael says, started with Wesley Walker. Just so, yeah, that's interesting, right, man? That's right where I started. So I'm 82. So I'm right there with you, buddy. I really am. Douglas McClure says he became a Jets fan in the O'Brien era. Gen X fans unite. Indeed. I mean, I think that's a lot of us, right? Like in Richard Todd, I was at the end of the Richard Todd era. Doug Jolly, thank you, Flight Right. There he is, Flight Right. Doug Jolly. Not Rick Dudley, Doug Jolly. Fantastic. So here's the thing. I'm with you, man. Gen X fans unite. And it's like Richard Todd, Ken O'Brien. It's like the same era, really, in many ways. So Shen says, Shen R018 says, Quincy was fired last year. Well, did you know, Shen, that he's also tied for most missed tackles with 17? Make of it what you will. See, the thing is with Quincy, it's interesting. He's like thunderous some games, and then he disappears others. So it's hard to say. I think it's a good move. I think in continuity, Robert Saleh's out there saying that he wants 90% of his defense back. So who's the 10%, right? Who is it? Maybe he wants to re-sign guys, obviously, like Quincy Williams, maybe Solomon Thomas, Nathan Shepard. We know they are solid faves, maybe. Jonathan Francois says Quan might come back if we get Aaron Rodgers. Well, I think, look, there's definitely a piece There's definitely a piece of this that the winning, right? The winning aspect is it definitely applies. Like, so when guys, when they play their career, even if it's, not on terribly losing teams, if they just can't get to the championship and they look around and there's an opportunity, maybe they're at the end of their career or something, 2-3 years left, and they look at the end of their career and they go, I want to play in the Super Bowl. That's what I've been wanting to do. I've been on teams that never made it or whatever. And the idea that there's 2 teams, 3 teams that want you, and one looks like a legitimate contender, one's rebuilding and one's middle of the road. Yeah, you might be willing to take a little bit less to win. It's not always the case. There's plenty of players out there like, I don't care. I want the most money I can get out of this 10-year period where I can play in the NFL. I want to squeeze this lemon for every last drop. There's those. But I think there are also people like Jonathan is alluding to here that that will absolutely take a little bit less for winning. Now, is that Quan Alexander? We don't know. GreenBean, the LB free agent class is so deep. Linebacker. We can upgrade from Quan. I like Long from Tennessee. Yeah. Is it deep? Let me say this, though. There's what you got to place. You got to see where your value is, though, Tom, on the continuity factor, right? Like having guys play more than one season in your systems is beneficial. It's just like we used it all off season, but a good example is Sheldon Rankins, guys. Sheldon Rankins, signing, signed with us for 2 years. And the first year, he was very disappointing. He really was. He was disappointing. And then he comes out and he has a very strong year last year. Let's not forget, a lot of Jets fans wanted him gone. They thought the Jets were absolutely going to move on from him. Absolutely. Save the money and all that jazz. Well, we kept him. Why? Because maybe guys are just getting the system underneath them. And that might apply to Jordan Whitehead. Again, we're all talking about Jimmy Ward, and we obviously traded for Chuck Clark. That's great. And maybe we can do that. Jimmy Ward has familiarity with Saleh and all that stuff. Maybe, just maybe. But I think keeping guys together for more than one season also has value. So keeping that linebacking core together, even though there are coverage issues, right? Even though there are coverage issues, could have its benefit because of the unit staying together. They know each other. They start to understand and be able to interact with each other on a level that's just not possible when you're switching guys every single year. You know what I mean? So that would be the thing, Tom. But you're a good point. Maybe Sherwood's an upgrade from Quan Alexander in there. Sherwood's ready to play, man. He's ready to play. Because Mr. Pickle Pants, Joe Douglas is unpredictable. One of his many good traits. I like that too. You just never know. Who the hell saw Chuck Clark coming, huh? Who saw Chuck Clark? None of us. Not a single one of us saw that coming. FM doesn't like it, as he feels about most things. This was such a terrible signing. $6 million for a backup linebacker. Why didn't we sign Wagner 2 years for 18? Now, it's a point. There's a point. Again, I think when you're looking at it, number one, Wagner's significantly older, right? You have that. He's more expensive, so you have that. And then again, the continuity factor. There's that. What value do you place on the team staying together? It's one of the strengths of the Buffalo Bills, guys. One of the strengths is that they have been together for years. Years. Last year, going into last year, some of those guys were on that team for 6 seasons. 4, 5, 6 years. The core of that defense is together. Now, maybe they could upgrade a little bit here or there, but they kept the core together. And I think it's a good idea to do that. Now, Quincy is back for 2 years, right? Or 3 years. So you're saying 2 years, $18 million for Wagner. Well, we got him 3 years for 18 million. So there's that. You know, I think again, he's hit or miss, man. Like he has really good games. And there are games where he disappeared. I honestly didn't know if he was going to re-sign or not. I honestly didn't. I didn't know if he was going to be the guy. I think the Quinnen Williams piece definitely has bearing. No doubt. No doubt. Definitely has an impact on the whole thing. So FM doesn't like him. Let's see. I'm going to go to the poll. Let's see what you guys think here. I'm going to end the poll. 44% say that it thinks, well, let's do it this way. So 56% of you believe that the Quincy Williams re-signing means that Quan Alexander is out. 43% of you said that Quan is just the next guy to sign. Now, me, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I happen to believe that only one of them is coming back. Unless Quan Alexander takes just a really good deal, something like he signed last year. Like, look, Quan Alexander's contract, what was it, 1 million, 2 million? Right? Quan, let's see. But yeah, $1.272 million. That's what he signed. So if he does something like that, then maybe we have a good chance at keeping the unit together. I think Quan Alexander is very good. Is it impossible to upgrade? No, it's not. You can absolutely upgrade over these guys. And I mean, Quincy too. But again, we're talking about continuity. I think it's a good move, guys. I really do. Look at all the guys. Look at all the guys that restructured. What does that tell you? Guys are willing to work with us, which is not always the case here. Berrios, no, he didn't want to do it, and we'll see where he ends up. Snoopy saying Quan was hurt a lot in his career. He's trying to get paid. See, that's what I think too. I mean, he made some money early on, but again, the reason that he was out there and we got him for $1.272.5 million is because of the injury piece. Now he stayed injured. He stayed healthy all year last year. So that's good. But I think in the capacity that we played him, that's really what we were looking at. It was like a part-time guy. For the most part, he wasn't a full-time starter, and that might be the way you want to use him. But again, I do think that Jamien Sherwood's ready. He's a firecracker, man. Kevin says now JD's got to lock Quinnen down or it will be awkward. Imagine that, though, Kevin. Imagine we end up signing Quincy and not re-signing Quinnen. Again, Quinnen's under contract, so we don't have to really worry about losing him per se, but we can ruin it. We can ruin the relationship. I think Joe Douglas, look, in his last press conference, we saw it. We saw that, in his mannerisms, his presentation, he was feeling sincerely positive about where they are with Quinnen Williams. That's what they were definitely feeling that. They were definitely feeling that. Let's see here. Let's get Jeremy. You want to hop on? I want to hear some thoughts. Let's get some people on here. See if there's people available. I'm sure everybody's going live. That's usually what happens. Everybody. Let's see here. I'll send it to Jeremy. I'll send it to who else? Who do I like? Let's see here. Send it to Jeremy. I'll send it to, I know Matt and Ryan were on all damn day, but I'll send it to them. Why not? Let's see. Let's send it to Ryan and Matt. There they go. Okay, so that's it. All right, what else we got? This is great. I want to hear your thoughts. I know FM doesn't like it, and here's the truth. You don't have to agree with them, right? But there's reason to be, not so much a fan of Quincy Williams. Here's the good news. He's still young, right? Let's look at Quincy Williams. Let's take a look. So Quincy Williams, this is what it looks like for him. Number one, he's born in August 28th, if I may, in Birmingham, Alabama. So he's 20. Whoa, what the hell just happened there? That was scary. I lost control. He's 26 years old, so he's gonna turn 27 in August, right? So that's a little bit older than I thought. Now he was a third round pick in 2019. I thought he was a fifth round. That's interesting too. All right, so here's what we got. Here's his stats. He played 15 games last year. He had 106 tackles, everybody. 74 of which were solo. That's a fantastic percentage for solo tackles. 74, so just about 75%, just under. Let's say 70%, all right? 32 assists, right? So he has 12 tackles for a loss, 6 quarterback hits, and 3 sacks on top of it. Dylan said, let's say Dylan's here. What's up, Dylan? How you doing, buddy? Watch Rodgers announce the news once the golf tournament ends. There you go. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. FM says Mosley is elite. I don't understand how Jets fans underappreciate. I don't underappreciate him. I love CJ Mosley. Now, here's the thing. But while I can say I love him, I can acknowledge that he has weaknesses, right? He was never really the best in coverage to begin with. He really wasn't. That was what you would call the weakness of his game. He did have a nose for picking the ball off, though. He could do that. But he's kind of lost a little bit of a step. He's still he's a sideline to sideline guy. He's in on like more than 2/3 of the tackles. He's in there. So he's a really, really good linebacker. He's quick to the hole, all those things. Hits like a fucking brick shithouse. But he does have weaknesses in coverage. That's where you see it. And the Jets, look, if we were going to upgrade in any one of these, that's where I would want to see it. Now, is Sherwood better in coverage than maybe these two? So we now know Quincy Williams is going to be there. We know CJ Mosley's under contract, but dude, shit, they have to do something with him, right? He cannot get paid $21 million. It just can't happen. So I wonder where those were going. I mean, between you, me, and the lamppost, I was convinced that CJ, he would be the first guy to be restructured. And he's the fact that we've restructured so many players before him is surprising to me. Not as surprising as trading for Chuck Clark, but damn. Oh, Jeremy has COVID. Come on, anyway. Just come on and COVID it up. I'm really sorry to hear that, Jeremy. I hope it's not too hard on you, honestly. I hope it's not too much. We get it, and it can be, certain levels. I hope it's easy for you, buddy. That's no damn fun. Great stats. It is great. It's good. He's a solid linebacker, dude. And the thing is with him, too, when he's hitting, let's be real here. He's thunderous. He's a heat-seeking missile. Again, he has weaknesses as well. And the idea that he's not the same player every single game is a rub. It's certainly a rub. Michael Gonzalez checking back in. Thank you. He says, GreenBean team has started to use cleared cap space. So we used some of it, right? So look at that. That's an interesting point. You're right. So we have to find out that the CJ contract is going to be restructured, Michael. We have to. There's just no way. You can't keep doing it, man. You just can't keep doing it. You can't run forward with that damn contract. Let's see. Steve says he's solid. He flies by tackles. That's correct. Like, Steve, here's the truth of it. We're looking at 106 tackles, 74 solo. We got 12 tackles for a loss. These are solid stats. 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. These are solid. But he also led the team in missed tackles with 17. So that's you know what I mean? So we got to just keep it real. Clearly, he didn't get a barn burning contract. It's not terrible. It's a good contract. I think it's good. $6 million a year is fine. And how much of that is guaranteed? Did we find out yet? How much of that is locked in? Let's see. Quincy Williams re-signed contract. Let's see. A Bleacher Report. There he is. Look at him. Yeah. All right. We like that. So 18. So we're not seeing any specifics here. This is just busy talk. Okay. Some former stats and stuff. Let's see what AM New York has to say. 18 million with over 21 million in incentives. So it can go up, guys. It can go up. That's interesting. Free agent, 106 tackles, blah, 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 55.2 while working well with fellow. Okay. He joined John Franklin Myers, 4 years, 55 million in Braxton Berrios, other waiver claim pickups that signed multi-year deals with the team after. So that's an area of strength. Now, it's obviously unfortunate what just happened with Berrios. That's unfortunate, man. I would have liked to see Berrios not have that kind of that brain melt at the end of the year last year and then just stay. I think that would have been better because Berrios, Quincy Williams, JFM being waiver wire pickups, man, scrap heap. That's what we call them. It's just scrap heap. The fact that they ended up being contributors is good news. That's good. Not everybody does that. Remember when Mike Tannenbaum called the waiver period a mini draft? Why do you need a mini draft? Well, because I only had 3 friggin' picks in my draft. I traded them all away. That's what happens. Joe Campione says, expect Mosley and JFM to restructure and only Whitehead and Mann to be cut. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm not convinced Braden Mann is being cut. I'm not. Again, he's a top 10 punter on most metrics, top 15 on many others. I just don't see it for $1 million. Now, maybe he's inconsistent as hell. That's the thing. But they also like what he can give them onside kick wise. Like he's got a lot of value. He can throw the ball. He's thrown the ball on fake punts. All kinds of shit. Now, I'm not rooting one way or the other, Joe, but I think I'm not as convinced as a lot of other people. Lots of people are. Let's see what NFL trade rumors says. I don't think we're not getting too many details. We did get that. At least Tom Pelissero said it can go up to 21 million with incentives. So that means if you don't have 17 missed tackles, we'll pay you another 250 large, right? Maybe. Steve says CJ restructure coming. Yeah. What's Drew Pacabra? Hey, Drew Pacabra. Good to see you, buddy. He says another 7 mil will be cleared from releasing Whitehead. Yeah, potentially. Like, don't forget. So, like, the Jets know this. Just like Drew Pacabra said, there's potentially 7 million waiting with Whitehead if they're going to go that way. And again, Jimmy Ward is rumored to be valued at around 7 million. So that could be a flip. Now, just like with with Sheldon Rankins, maybe keeping Whitehead around till the second year would be good. Maybe, right? But they know that they have it. There's 7 million in breathing room there. We also have the 10.5 with Corey. We have the 15 and change with Carl Lawson if he doesn't restructure. And you also have, in my opinion, I think there's 10 million at least. I think there's 10 million or so in CJ's as well. 10, 9, something like that. 9 or 10 million. You get CJ Mosley down to 10 million or 11 million. If you get him down to 11 million, that means that you just created $10 million in cap space. That's huge. Now, will he do that? I don't know. He just made the Pro Bowl, second team All-Star, All-Pro. Jets forever. He's been, I'll tell you what, when Sherwood is a stud, you're going to have to back the truck up, guys. As much as we drag Jets forever over the coals, and for good reason, okay? For good reason. He's been on Sherwood and Nasruldeen the entire time. From the draft on. He's never wavered. And I love Sherwood. Nasruldeen, interestingly enough, Jets forever, in the draft, I thought Nasruldeen was a better prospect and a better find. Getting him in the 6th round, I thought was unbelievable. There was talk about Nasruldeen being a 2nd-round pick. So I thought Nasruldeen was a better prospect. Since they've been here, I've grown to like Sherwood much, much more than I like now. I still like Nasruldeen, and it would be really great to see that guy come out and be something. But Sherwood's ready. But you guys are going to have to acknowledge him. You're going to have to give it to him. You're going to have to. Jets forever. Sherwood and Nasruldeen the whole time. So when you said Carter before, you meant Michael Carter. I was like, who the hell's Carter? I'm fried, man. Haven't seen Elijah Moore or Michael Carter doing any Rodgers. I know. They don't know if they're going to be on the team. They both are, though, I think. Stern Riffs checking. He said, GreenBean, what are your thoughts on the kicker? We need to keep Greg after the kicking issues we've had before him. Sneaky big need for us. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Having a kicker is worth its weight in gold. And for some reason, it's probably the main area, Stern. It's probably the main area of issue I have with Joe Douglas. He's brought in a ton of guys, but he hasn't really, seemed to prioritize it. I think Greg the Leg being here would be a good move. Now, look, we have a guest, guys. Let me shut this down. We have a guest. I don't know how long he'll make it. He's very, very sick. He's very ugly, but let's see what he's like. Let's say hello to COVID himself. Jets Chaos. What's up, buddy? Okay? You're on mute. Can you guys hear Jeremy? I can't hear him. Let me make sure my speakers are on, though. Let me see. Hold on.
How about now?
Yep, I hear you. Okay, good. My speakers are on. How you feeling, buddy? Okay?
Yeah, I got that drug. My wife got me a tele appointment, and they called it in out here to North Carolina. It's like that Pavlox or whatever
Yep.
the hell it's called.
Yeah.
So I took the first dose, and I don't know. I had a bad day. Last night was bad. Today was bad, but then I sweated it out. I kind of broke, I think, the fever.
When did it start? 2 days ago? Thursday, think of it.
I just started noticing symptoms when I got here off the plane. It's Saturday morning.
Oh, the fucking plane. It's the worst. Traveling. You know what, man? I flew recently, and it was weird. I used to fly at least once a month, usually more, like for years. I did it all over the country, and I had no problem. I was like a pro flyer. I haven't flown since COVID started, and I just flew a couple weeks ago, and it was like, you remember I got stuck in the airport. I was going down to Mobile, and dude, I got sick in the process. I got sick either in the plane or the airport, whatever. And it was so weird, like being that close to everybody. It's like it changed. I changed. I look at flying so different these days.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I want to wear like a fucking bubble. Like, remember those helmets you go underwater in the 1920s, those big metal helmets? So let me ask you this. So not to keep you too long, what do you think of the signing?
I think it's good that we locked them up. I mean, we needed to lock up some players, right? And they said they wanted to bring back as much of the defense as possible. So, and I think it's important for Quinnen. Like, I think it mattered. Like, I do. I think he wanted to play with his brother, and I think that had some motivation, because now we could extend Quinnen.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of this, like, because Quinnen said he'll give some to his brothers. I'll take a little bit less. I wonder if any of that. He's like, "What'd you give him? An extra $100,000? Like, I'll take $100,000 off." But I wonder if maybe $1 million, or like maybe they were going to go for 23, and he goes for 22 because they were like, "Look, we were going to give him 5, man. Like that's our cap for him, and they gave him 6. Maybe. What do you think? You think there's any real, like potential for that?
It could be. I mean, I think it was just more in good faith. Like, we want you. Your brother's good enough. Like it wasn't like a mandatory thing. Like he's one of those kind of players that it's good to have him. He has good moments, good to have him on the team and everything, but it wasn't like mandatory, but like it was important to Quinnen. So it was one of those guys that, okay, if it's going to make our star tackle, like our superstar defensive tackle happy, and we can get a deal, closed with him easier, then, it's just worth doing. I mean, because he's good. Quincy Williams is good. He's fine. He's fine. He's not a star, but he's a guy who fills his role.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of agree with you. And yeah, I mean, and again, like I talked about before, I don't know if you were here or whatever, but I think that it's important. The continuity thing, Jets fans, we've gotten away from just how important that is. We have not had continuity here, like for a long time, since really 2000, the 2009, 2010, like we had some of those guys, like obviously that was the end of like Mangold. Well, Mangold made it till Fitzpatrick 2015 ish, that era, but we had like our line was together a long time. Like we had Brandon Moore and Mangold and DeBrickashaw and then Woody for years we had these guys, and then like we got away from that, like Kotchery, and we had guys here for years. We've gotten away from that. And it seems like if you're a Jet for more than like 2 or 3 years, it's like it's an anomaly. It's not even the norm anymore. And I think there's value to that, man. Like the same thing we were talking about, like with keeping Joe Douglas, like let him build, let him do it. Let him do it the right way. Let him take how about a coach? Yes, Saleh has his issues for sure. I'm still not 100% convinced that he's going to be able to take us there. But how about we give it time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, give them the 5 years. Like, let's just do it. And the same thing applies with players. Like, let's keep a regime together for more than a year. Like, and they cutting Whitehead last year, cutting Rankins. And okay, maybe that's the way you got to go. But I think there's value to keeping the guys together. And I think Quincy Williams, some of the benefit of this re-signing is the continuity. Do you agree with that? Do you see the same thing I see with the lack of continuity around here?
Yeah, I mean, because look, if you look at winning teams, they have that continuity, right? I mean, look at the organizations we would most want to be like. They have that continuity. They're players. They have a core of players that come back year after year. That's how you build. So, we've definitely been lacking that, and that's a huge problem. And, just giving up on a coach and getting a new coach every 2 years hasn't worked. Like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, Saleh came in. It's not like he didn't accomplish something. He came in. The trend is up. He's won more games each year that he's been here, right? He went from 2 to 4 his first year.
That's it. You remember you did the chart that day?
Yeah, he did
funny.
the chart thing. And then he took he took the 32nd ranked defense and he did what he promised he'd do and what he's supposed to do as a defensive minded coach. Head coach, that comes from the defense side of things, made us a top 5 defense second year. So he's doing what he's supposed to be doing as a coach. That's what you would expect when you make Robert Saleh your head coach, that you'd have a great defense. Now we have a great defense. So let's hope that they get the offense together and get these guys we've brought in are the right guys and they could be around for 3 to 5 years and give us that continuity on that side of the ball. And here we go.
Yeah, I'm well said, man. And, look, whether or not, obviously we changed our coaching staff. So it's hard to say all this, right? Like while we just got rid of the offensive coordinator, obviously we're going to have a new quarterback. So, it's happening still. Like we know that, right? But at the same time, anywhere that you can, like kind of ebb that consistent turnover, I think is a good idea. Jonathan Francois checking back in. Thank you, Jonathan. He says, so what did you want to do? What do you want to do after A-Rod? What do you want in free agency and the draft? Any specific players? Yeah, well, you know what I really want? I would love to see the Jets figure out a trade for a center like Corey Linsley. There's also Pacheck from Cleveland, who's a free agent. I think he would be a nice get. He's younger than McGovern, and I think he's going to give you I think improved center play. So I'd like to see them address maybe center in free agency. That said, I really do like the center class. Like, I really do. And I think while I don't see us using our first round pick on a center, I do think that second round would be fine. And some of these guys are going to be there, man. I don't think John Michael Schmitz will be there in the second, but guys like Avila, and take your pick, man. Stromberg, Patterson, guard, center, any of these guys, like there's going to be a nice Weipler. There's going to be a nice crop of guys that you can get in that second and third round. And I would really love to see one of those guys brought in. So our long-term answer is here. But that said, I don't know. I don't know how much we're going to really be able to do in free agency. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is kind of the big fish. And I don't know if we're going to be able to go out there and get a wide receiver. Maybe I think Cobb. Like, if we bring Aaron Rodgers in, I see Cobb coming here. Maybe Lazard. Maybe you do the old send Corey to Green Bay and you scoop up Lazard. I mean, that might make some sense. Obviously the value there is the comfort level. Don't forget, a quarterback and their wide receiver, man, that takes time. So while he's trying to develop that with Garrett Wilson and maybe Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims, having a Lazard and Cobb here just to be those safety blankets, I think would be beneficial. Where do you want to go in free agency? What do you think? If you have a main guy, where do you want to go?
I mean, what you said about center is great. I just want to address, any position that we address, like getting Clark in that trade with Baltimore. That Baltimore trade was great about that, is it took a lot of pressure off of us for the safety position, right? It took, the LaMarcus Joyner, that, like, he plays both, so we don't know where they're even planning to use them, but it definitely added to that room without having to address it all in the draft. So whatever they decide to do, as long as they're addressing positions of need that allow us to go into that draft and have more of a focus. So I don't think there's a lot of money. I don't think we're going to make a big splash. I think, we're hoping that Aaron Rodgers, we get him. Obviously, he's the big splash. I don't see us going big because we have to extend Quinnen. But we and Joe Douglas has been excellent at getting role players. Just getting solid value players. Like, obviously his best, I think the best signing last year was Reed. We got an excellent cornerback at a good price. Like, and I think it went under the radar and people don't appreciate it nearly as much as they should. So to me, it's just whether it's a interior, like another guard, or whether it's a tackle, it would be great just to build depth somewhere in free agency. It doesn't have to be a big star, but someone solid that'll give us that depth. If Becton can't play, like, having a backup plan for him, or if Max Mitchell, Dwayne Brown combination doesn't work out, just nice to resolve those pieces, as many as you can without the draft. Then you can go into the draft and really take the best player.
Yeah. And that's best case scenario. That's best case scenario, is that you can take, just like Jeremy said, like with the Butler thing, or I'm sorry, Clark thing. Yeah. I knew that didn't feel right. I was like, who the fuck is Butler? Why am I saying Butler? It gives you that, if even unspectacular, right? He's not like, wow, oh my God. It's not that kind of a signing, but it does give you something that enables you to kind of take the heat off, the urgency off, and you can kind of widen your scope and go, okay, well, now I don't need to use that on that. I can do this and be okay. That's what that signing does. And I think it's a very smart, not signing, trade, really. I think that's a very smart one. And I think with Quincy, again, in the same way, it takes that kind of urgency. Look, we don't know. I mean, if CJ Mosley says, fuck you, I want my 21 million or nothing. Maybe I'll go down to 19, like something like that. And they go, dude, like, wow. And he's just not willing to bend, a la Berrios. Maybe all of a sudden, you don't re-sign Quincy. You have your top 3 linebackers are all free agents and could all be, wooed away and courted elsewhere. And that's now all of a sudden that's an urgent need overnight. Because you're not paying CJ 21. You can't. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you can 21 million, dude. I don't know. It seems ridiculous to me. 17 seemed ridiculous. And I love CJ Mosley. I sincerely do. But all of a sudden, Quan goes, Quincy goes, CJ says no, and he has to go. Now you got Sherwood and Nasruddin, which is okay, but now you got to use premium assets on bringing somebody in, and that changes things. So I think Quincy Williams he's here. We got Sherwood, we got Nasruddin, we got Quincy. They've all been here for 2-3 years, all of them now. Right to 2021. Yes, this is all their third year. So it's like you have that as your foundation. I think that's incredibly important. Let's see the draft. Yeah, okay. So that's the kind of what we're looking at. Jets Forever says Schmitz is weak. You are absolutely incorrect on that one. 100%. Believe me, dude. I sat there at the Senior Bowl and just bugged out on him the entire time. He's an absolute stud. I've watched more film on him than maybe anybody.
He's as good a prospect as he's a great. He's an awesome prospect.
Now, Jeremy, what do you think? We had this one. We had another big. We had another big move with the Dolphins today. Did you see that? The Jalen Ramsey trade, and then I'll get to you, Ron Weiss. I see that. What do you think about that? So they traded Jalen Ramsey. I just want to get the trade up here real fast, and then I'll bring it up. Okay, here it is. Let me just do this. Hold on, everybody. Okay, there it is. Nope. Shit. There it is. Jalen Ramsey. Okay, here it is. So, guys, we'll talk about that. This directly impacts us, right? We know that. Why? Because they're our division rival. They are a damn good football team. Where's their weakness? Their defense, right? I mean, well, obviously, Tua. We don't know what the hell's happening there. But their weakness was defense. So they go out and get one of the premier cornerbacks in the NFL. So they traded for Jalen Ramsey. They gave a third-round pick in this year's draft, and they got tight end Hunter Long, who I love, by the way. I didn't, anyway, I think he's got a lot of promise, that one. I liked him coming out. So what do you think of this? You make you nervous. I mean, clearly they're looking at the Jets cornerback duo and saying, like, we need some of that. So they brought really one of the better cornerbacks over to Miami. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I mean, they're never going to make it easy for us, right? I mean, all of our division foes, they're going to constantly be building as well. So these, you're going to see great players go over there. They're going to get these players. If we have Aaron Rodgers, I'm not too worried about it. We'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, you never like to see your main rivals get better. And there's no real way to deny it. I mean, he's a great pickup for them. He's going to make them better, right? It's going to be annoying now. It's going to be a little bit harder now for our receivers. But I don't know. I like the matchup, Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson will put up some numbers against him, though.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's damn good. But you know what? Just like you said, you know what I honestly believe? I believe Garrett Wilson is going to make a career out of making everybody look stupid. Like in the same way as the same confidence that I have that nobody's going to be able to make Sauce look stupid. I feel the exact same way on the other side of the ball that nobody's going to be able to cover Garrett Wilson. That's how I feel about these two friggin' guys. I think they're that good, man. Ron Weiss. But go on. So I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, Jalen Ramsey wasn't even close to Sauce Gardner last year. Like, he's a good corner, but he's not dominant like Sauce Gardner was. It's not like you were saying. It's not like Garrett Wilson can't go out there and beat him.
Yeah, but you're right. And that's a good point. But he has been. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's a stud. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that one. And the third, I mean, honestly, I think third, I thought that was a little bit cheap. Again, I like Hunter Long. He hasn't done much. I really like him. But hey, I guess, a lot of people could look at it just as like a throw in, but I like Hunter Long. I think he's very, very young too. So anyway, Ron Weiss checking in. He says, GreenBean, I was 7 when the Jets won the Super Bowl in 69. No memory of it. Saw Kiss in 75 and have been suffering with the Jets ever since. Well, shit, man. I mean, it's a bummer that you don't remember it, because that is young, 7 years old. I don't remember any Jets from 7 years. I don't remember football. You know what I remember from football at 7? I had an Earl Campbell football, and this thing, Jeremy. This is it. This is all I remember. And it's funny too, because I wasn't a Jets fan when they bought this for me. I wasn't. You know what I mean? This is the one I got. And my cousin got a Giants one, and he ended up being a Giants fan. Maybe that's how it happened. I give all this credit to Aunt Gina. Maybe it wasn't her at all. Maybe it was just a helmet. But that's awesome. Kiss in 75. Oh, man, I wish. That's like prime Kiss, baby. That's prime time shit, Ron. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Let me see here. Michael checking back in. Thank you, Michael. He says, GreenBean, I love Ohio State wide receiver and Jigba for this draft. We were talking about him significantly the other night. And, numerous times, both Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave have called him the best of the group, right? He's clearly the best. I don't know if I feel the same way about him. I like him. And I think that if the Jets wanted to take a wide receiver, like let's say at 13, the tackles we want are gone, Branch is gone, and they're like, all right, when we can't trade back and they're going to take wide receiver, I think he'd be a fine choice. And it's especially, the camaraderie with Garrett Wilson and Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, you got a whole bunch there now, man. We kind of got Ohio State group there. That's positive too. But I don't know if I like him. I mean, there's a couple guys I might like better than him as far as for the Jets. Addison's one that I happen to like. How do you feel about if the Jets drafted Njigba?
I'd be okay with it. I mean, I was going to say I like Addison best. I really like Addison a lot, but I wouldn't complain about it at all. I mean, it would be, assuming we're going to land Aaron Rodgers, that's just going to happen. They're just, so you got Aaron Rodgers, right? And I don't know what's going to happen with Corey Davis. I just know that you bring this kid in with Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. I mean, that is a young, studly group of great route running, fast, speedy, explosive wide receivers. And Aaron Rodgers will just have a field day with that. And then you got Breece Hall coming back. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with like really going potent offense. You know what I mean? Like we haven't done that. And even like, look, I'm a Jets fan a long time, as are you. And I've known for just the longest time, like when the Jets are good, it's usually because of our defense. Like our offense is kind of like also. And even we've had some good offense, you Wesley Walker, Altoon, Freeman McNeil, Mickey Schuler. We've had good offenses, but it was never our calling card. You know what I mean? It was never who we were. Even during that era, it was the sack exchange. And, and at any time, even like 2009, 2010, yes, we had Santonio Holmes, we had Braylon Edwards, we had Thomas Jones the one year, LaDainian Tomlinson. We had all these guys, Dustin Keller, and we were really known for defense. That's what we were. We had the Rex Ryan defense. And, so being a Jets fan, like we have never really just took a couple years and focused all premium resources on our offense. Joe Douglas has kind of done that, man. This was the first year that he used first round picks on defense, right? I mean, the first year he used Becton, like his first picks, Becton, Mims, right? The second year he has, 2 firsts. He has Zach Wilson, AVT, Elijah Moore. Then the fourth round pick, Michael Carter. So his top 4 picks were offense. And this year he goes Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and then Breece in the second. But it's like, you see it. Joe Douglas has placed a premium on offense. And I think it's nice to see. So if we end up going this year, and like Michael's saying, we just say, screw it. We're getting the best damn wide receiver in our eyes in the whole draft. I am not going to argue it. I'm not. I'll be excited for once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Cincinnati, they're terrifying. And then, they're terrifying with those receivers. So why wouldn't we want to be terrifying with our receivers?
Why wouldn't we want to be terrifying, everybody? This is the best thing I've ever heard Jeremy say, period. He talks a lot. That's number one. Why wouldn't we want to be terrifying?
Let's scare other teams. Let's scare the hell out of them.
Yeah. So who's saying he's the best? Now, Jalen Ramsey is a very, very good cornerback. I don't know if he's definitely not the best cornerback in football. I mean, here's the thing, though. While Sauce is a rookie, he just had a rookie season, right? So, and he was challenged. So it wasn't like he kind of skated through, and he was challenged weekly, and he showed up and he put up, and he had the best corner. He was the best cornerback in football this year, period. That said, Jalen Ramsey's done it for, I mean, how long is he? Let me see here. Let me see. But he's done it for more than one season is my point.
Yeah. He's
and that's something that, look, we've had rookies of the year before, guys, and they were not really all that much to talk about 2-3 years later. Let's see. Okay. So 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going into his 8th year. Now he's not old or anything, but again, he's been a stud muffin for a while now, So that's the difference. I think when you say, yes, Sauce had a better year and others did too, I still think you could argue that Jalen Ramsey is the better cornerback. He's been doing it for a longer time. And there's merit to that, I think. Joe S. checking in. Just to remind everybody, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed, it is greatly appreciated. Let me say it this way. Please subscribe to my channel. How's that sound, Jerry? That's new. I never did it like that. So please subscribe and please hit the like button, the milk thumbs. We like to milk thumbs. Go ahead and do that. And guys, we got a whole burst of new stream beaners in here today, which is great because YouTube limits the amount of emojis I can give to you guys until I hit certain plateaus with members. So we definitely got enough today to add emojis. I believe it's 2, but the more stream beaners we get, the more emojis and fun stuff we're going to be able to add. We will be doing a stream beaner private mock as well. So if there's 25, 30 of us, it's just going to be us. It's not going to be the whole Monday Night Mock, 300 people in here. Just us. We can talk about it and do that. We're also going to be doing that for the beanbaggers as well. The beanbaggers, we get together every single Wednesday and break down different positions with Dom C. This Wednesday, Dom C can't be there, and we're having the great Dylan Terraman from Jetnation Radio stopping by to hang out with the beanbaggers and break down wide receivers. You can join the fun in the beanbaggers with the link in the description. There are different benefits for each level, each tier, we call it. And, if you're a tier 3, you can do what you saw on the Thursday Thick of It with Wyatt. He got to hang out with us for 5 hours on the show. So you get to be a guest on one of the shows as well. And guys, just know this, all of that stuff, whatever thing that you choose to do, whether it's just the like button, the subscribe, the stream beaners, the beanbaggers, it is greatly appreciated. It helps me to be able to continue to do this for you guys. So I'm grateful. So thank you, Joe, for reminding everybody. Tom Cahill checking back in. Thank you, Tom. He says, GreenBean, even though Njigba was primarily a slot at Ohio State, he has the size. That's exactly right. A lot of people say that he's strictly a slot. That's not necessarily accurate. The good news is that he has versatility. But he has been primarily a slot, but yes, you can use him outside. I think, look, if you had a lineup, like if your top 4 receivers, and I know people are going to chop my head off with it. If your top 4 receivers are Garrett Wilson, Njigba, Elijah Moore, and Denzel Mims, dude, you're going to kick the shit out of people. You know what I mean? You're going to roll through teams, especially if you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Add to that Conklin, Uzoma, Ruckert, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, potentially Jamal Williams. Dude, now we're talking. We're talking, Tom. I would love it. Man. We got to get some fucking offense going, man. It's just such a shame that last year ended up going the way it did. Again, guys, 6 one-score losses. 3 games, I believe it's 3, where the other team didn't even score an offensive touchdown, or at least on our defense. Like that Patriots game, they won by special teams. You know what I mean? But like so many games, even Detroit, the game that a lot of people say was our defense that blew it, technically speaking, yes, because they gave up that touchdown on 4th and 1. Well, let's be real. They shut that team down all game, and our offense couldn't do a damn thing. And that's why that one play was able to win it. So our defense just put up such great football numbers for us, such great effort. And if we could have done anything, it would have been a totally different year. And that's why it's so important to get this right. Jeremy, if you had to put money down, if I said, okay, you have to bet, you have to place a bet, even money, do you think the Jets starting quarterback is going to be Aaron Rodgers this year?
Even money, I'd take that bet. I'd say yes.
You think he's coming?
I'm about. I was higher. I lowered a little bit. I'm about 75%. So, yeah. Someone said, "I bet you $500 right now." I take that bet.
Oh, I like it. See, I don't know. I mean, look. The truth is, I feel the same way. But it's weird. I have like a resistance barrier. I cannot allow myself to believe it's true. I just can't. It's weird.
It is hard to believe. I'm just want it to happen already so bad to make it real. Because it would be just so unbelievable. Like that if and when it happens, it's just going to be unbelievable because it will be. I'm pretty confident it's going to be the best offense we've ever had as fans that we've ever seen if Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback.
Oh my God. You know what? Did you see the Brandon Marshall interview with Aaron Rodgers? And if anybody hasn't seen it, I highly recommend it. There's a few, it has like 3 sections, the interview. And it's interesting. Did you see it?
I just heard a lot about it.
You should watch it.
I was so sick all day,
yeah.
But I was reading on Twitter, like in my Twitter groups, like I was reading everything that he had said.
Yeah. Look, you have an excuse, but let me say this. There's a point where Brandon Marshall says, I consider myself an all-time great for the Jets. And he says, and Aaron Rodgers goes, well, he goes, but you can be an all-time great for the Jets too. And he says, well, can I do that? Can someone be an all-time great if you're there for 1 year? And he goes, yeah, you can. He goes, I don't think so. He's like all my years in Green Bay, if I go to the Jets, he's like, you think I'm going to be an all-time great? Brandon Marshall goes, well, look at the numbers, man. Look at my numbers. You'll see I'm one of their all-time greats. I don't give a shit if I was there 1 year, 2 years, whatever. And Aaron Rodgers was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree. He said, I think of you as a bear. That's what Brandon Marshall is to me, a Chicago Bear. You know, you're an all-time. He goes, I'm an all-time great for them too. He's like, really? Can you do that? So that was an interesting little section. And I wonder, it's like we think that Aaron Rodgers, if he comes here and he wins a Super Bowl, it's going to almost squash all of his greatness in Green Bay, right? That's what a lot of us feel like, especially if he comes here, wins it the first year and gives us a second in the second, something like that. Of course, we think just the fact that he'd be the first guy to get the Jets to the Super Bowl in whatever, since 1969, that somehow the legend is bigger. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. But in his mind, he's definitely, evidenced by his answers to this one, he's definitely not seeing it the same way. He's looking at it like, all right, like a chance to do something, but he's not coming here to try to get that glory or whatever. You could see it in his answer. It's really an interesting question, and it's an interesting little section of the interview. Again, I highly recommend that everybody watch it. It's a 5-minute interview. It's not like you got to buckle down and listen to a 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast or something like that. It's mellow, man, and it's easy, and I think you'll all like it. Brian Turner checking. He says, sorry, he's coming in. You don't have to worry about being late, Brian, but he says, I was 20 in 1993. That is accurate. I was 20 and I turned 20 in the end of 1992. So he says, we're close in age, but I got 7-8 years before your hair goes white. Hey, man, this is why my beard went white. I gotta answer this. I got a job running. I was the program director of a substance abuse rehab that we were opening from scratch. And I quite literally worked. Like I would go there, sleep on my office couch, wake up and continue working. Like that's what I was doing. Like I wouldn't see my family for 2 days, 3 days. My wife, I would go in, I had a beautiful brown and red beard. And I would show up home and my wife would literally say to me, dude, you have more white in your beard today than when you left. Like it happened overnight. I could almost hear it. Doink, doink, doink. Like that's how it was. So, Brian, I think you're safe unless you immerse yourself into an incredibly stressful environment, because that's what happened. My beard turned almost white in maybe 6 months. Almost from brown to, I had a couple little whites around here. In 6 months, it went completely white on me. So that's what happened. So I wouldn't worry, buddy. I wouldn't worry. Let's see what else we got here, Jeremy. My wife is texting me because I didn't even know I was going live today. So who knows? I think that's about it, man. All right. So look, dude, we got some big stuff today while I was live. Everybody, I was in the middle of a story. Everybody's making fun of me and calling me old and fat and everything else you guys were saying. And I was just finishing what I was saying. It's so funny. Like in this age, this day and age of like immediacy, like it couldn't handle it. You know, it's like, what the fuck is he doing? He's talking about something else. Come on. But we got through it, didn't we, guys? We totally didn't we didn't suffer at all, but we re-signed the brother of Quincy Williams. It could only mean good things moving into the most important offseason move, in my opinion. Not named Aaron Rodgers, not named quarterback, because that's Quincy Williams. We need to get that one done. The optics, the importance of this one being done now cannot be overstated, in my opinion. It is paramount that we do this the right way, make that young man as happy as we could make him. We already signed his brother. That's going to help him. So we got to make this one happy and show the world, if you do things the right way, and you do it, and you are successful with the New York Jets, Joe Douglas is going to take care of you. It's an incredible opportunity to do just that. And I hope we hear that next. 2 moves that I want to hear, Jeremy. Quinnen's re-signed. CJ Mosley's restructured. That's what I want to hear. If you had to pick 2 moves, which ones? Not Aaron Rodgers. 2 other moves. What are they going to be?
Definitely extend Quinnen, because that's huge for free agency. We got to show that we have our guy. He's like our big guy on the other side. And I think I agree with that. We need to restructure Mosley. We need to do another restructure, free up more money. Actually, though, I'm going to go with Carl Lawson. I would love to see us restructure him and keep him.
I think, that's a great one. I almost forgot about that. I mentioned him earlier. Carl Lawson, everybody. I don't want to lose him. You know what I mean? Like last year, it was the year he came back from the Achilles. It's widely said. Now, whether it applies, I don't know, to him, but it's widely said that the second year after an Achilles injury is like when you're back to 100%. Dude, he had a good year. He was harassing quarterbacks constantly. He ended up coming away with 7 sacks. Let me look at Corey Davis while we're doing this. Let me see how many quarterback hits and stuff. Let's see. What did I say, Corey? When I say Corey, don't let me do that. I meant Carl Lawson. I've been saying Corey Davis the whole time, Jeremy. You didn't even stop me.
I got COVID. That's
because he's sick. Sorry, everybody. I meant Carl Lawson. They're probably all this like, this GreenBean's lost his damn mind. Mojo wants to keep Lawson. I'm right. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's take a look at Carl's stats here real quick. And then I see you, Matthew. You're up next, buddy. Matthew Patrone. So look, 1 year it's crazy, right? Because he didn't play in 21. So technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is his 7th year. Even though it only has 5 there. So look, he had 1 forced fumble, available all 17 games. So that's interesting. 1 fumble recovery for 2 yards. He had 7 sacks, 33 tackles, 18 of which were solo, 9 tackles for a loss. Those are equally important to sacks. I know we don't like to look at it that way, but it is, or close to anyway. 24 quarterback hits, not too shabby. I wish they had how many times he was held. Let's look at this. So let me see here. quarterback knockdowns. He also had 16 quarterback knockdowns. What's this one? Pressure. So look, he had 24 quarterback hits, 16 quarterback knockdowns, 26 quarterback pressures. So that's a hurry. And I guess that's the combined. So, all right. So he had 2 hurries, blitzed. I don't need to blitz him. He just rushes. Anyway, so you see there's a lot more to it. Missed tackle percentage is only 5.7%, so that's not too bad. Let me see. I want to see penalties. Did he get any penalties? Let me see. So here's his snap count. So look, guys, he ended up only playing 58% of the time. You see that? So look, guys, we're talking about 7 sacks, but look at what the Jets did. This is key, I think. He's kind of known as an injured guy. Look, he played 16 games here, but 7 games in 2018, 12 games in 2019. Then he got 16 in 2020. He was available, but lost 2021. But then the first time that he played in every game and was available for every game was 2022. So that lowered percentage, even though maybe if he played 70%, maybe he has 2 more sacks, 3 more sacks. And we're talking about a 10-sack season. But he had the 24 quarterback hits. He's got the 16 quarterback knockdowns, numerous hurries, 7 sacks, but he only played 58% of the snaps, guys. So what do you think of that, Jeremy? You think that's what maybe the experiment is more about keeping him healthy, so we have him all year rather than 90% for half the year? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's people look at numbers a lot. They're looking at the stats. I mean, you got to go by the eye test too, right? We watched the games. The guy was, when our defense was on, when we were rolling, he was a big part of it. He and Bryce Huff were coming on from both sides and just terrorizing quarterbacks. So, I mean, I don't see how anybody wouldn't want him back on the team. How do we not want that player there? It's just a matter of making it, financially viable. But I thought he was great. I don't care so much about the stats because also we get an Aaron Rodgers. Our offense is better. We're scoring more points. We're forcing the opponents to have to drop back and pass more, and we're going to get more sacks. So right. So that's going to impact it as well, because we're not the kind of team that was putting up touchdowns and forcing teams to go shotgun, constantly have to throw the balls, 50 times, 60 times to keep up with us because we're getting far ahead of them. We weren't that kind of team consistently through the year. So that impacts our defensive players' numbers as well.
No, it's true. It's really true. And that's a great point about Huff, too. Like a lot of us, I think most Jets fans really want to see Huff retained as well. Now, they got to decide what tender they're going to put on him, if anything. I hope that they do. We haven't seen it yet, but, Huff and Carl Lawson, they're maybe, not playing every down or even, 85% of the snaps. We saw how impactful this defensive line was with this rotation. Now, we heard about it in the offseason. I think nobody liked it. We all kind of chopped it to shreds and all that. But I think there's value to it, man. Like keeping these guys, keep the band together and using them in this rotation, having that depth can be just as, if not more beneficial than just having that stud guy who's there all day. Matthew checking in. Thank you, Matthew. He says, if the Jets don't get Aaron, what do we do now? Looks like Jimmy G is going to the Raiders. Well, again, we don't even know, if any of these rumors are true, right? I saw that earlier, right? The Jimmy G Raiders thing. Let me see. But nobody's gone anywhere. We don't know anything about anything, right? They're waiting in the same way. If they think he's going there, they're waiting in the same way that we are. The Texans are also linked to Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think the only thing, Matthew, that is concerning, right, is that you have to know tomorrow. You cannot make us wait. And later, and to me, if they do and they're signing other free agents and all this kind of stuff. To me, that means it's already done and they're working something out. That's what it means to me. Like, because there's no way the Jets aren't just going to be like, oh, yeah, just fucking string us along as long as you want. They're not going to do that because they are going to lose out on the Jimmy G's, on the whoever else's, whoever, even like, what was that? Whatever, whoever the hell else they have on their minds. You can't just let all of them go and not know. You can't. And I think that we're the best opportunity for Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers have made it pretty clear that they want to move on. All right. They've made it pretty clear. Now, if he wants to come back, I mean, could he just strong arm him? I guess. But they've made it clear they want to move on. We're the best other option out there for him, truly. With the quarterback needy teams, we have kind of the maybe Miami. I don't know. But and it's not like, we're just going to let him string us along forever. I think that if we don't know tomorrow and we move into free agency and we're signing guys, I think we know. There's just kinks that got to be worked out. Jeremy, how do you feel about that? Do you think, just like Matthew said, if we don't sign him and we fall back, are you like concerned? Like Jimmy G might be going to the Raiders. What do you think happens?
I'm very concerned if we don't get Aaron Rodgers. If we don't land him, I'm very concerned.
Right.
Like very, very concerned. Because even Jimmy G, he doesn't stay healthy. And I mean, but what would be left? I mean, are we talking about Jacoby Brissett? Are we talking about Baker Mayfield? I mean, it's not looking good. Like I mean, it's more than just, I want Rodgers because we get Aaron Rodgers and it would be so amazing. But it's also, there's some pressure too, because if we don't get him, what are we going to do? It's not looking good. Like it would be pretty tragic for us. It would be right up there with a lot of the bad things that have happened to us as Jet fans. It would be right there near the top if we somehow don't end up with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about this one? Carmelo says Baker Mayfield. You could just pivot to Baker Mayfield. Now, how would you feel if that's what we ended up with?
I can't imagine him playing in New York. I can't imagine him being the right fit for this team. I just can't imagine it. Like it just seems like the wrong guy. So I would be shocked. I think Baker Mayfield's going to end up in Tampa, actually.
Tampa. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because they have Kyle Trask, and I know a lot of people are like, they just assume he sucks. But I don't. I think, he was a solid prospect. All right. Now, albeit unspectacular, he was a solid prospect. And he's been sitting behind Brady for 2 years. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's a bad situation for a young quarterback. And so I think he's going to at least be in the mix. Who knows? But assigning a guy like a Baker Mayfield to kind of compete with him, or maybe even bridge a little bit, or give you that kind of stability backup. Like if Kyle Trask, crashes and burns and you got Baker Mayfield, I think that might be a good place for him, actually. I'm with you. I'm going to be really concerned if we don't get Rodgers. But yeah, I mean, you just got to assume, like I said, it's weird. I haven't completely bought into the idea that he's going to be our quarterback. I feel that way, but for something in my brain won't let me get there. But I got to say, if we don't at this point, it's a whiff, guys. It's a major whiff. And they it's a swing and a miss. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Now they'll have to pivot and maybe we end up having a great year and all that. That's great. But Aaron Rodgers is the guy we're going for. We put all of our eggs in his basket, essentially. And I think it has to happen too. Why is everybody saying prayers for Frankie? Frankie's fine, guys. He's work schedule. That's all it is. Work schedule changed, took up a lot more of his time, and that's what it is. That's it. You don't have to say, you can pray for him, sure. Don't be worried. I chatted with him last week. So New York Sports MC, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. He says, Greenwell, I will be ecstatic when we trade for Rodgers, but I feel like Rodgers has known what he wants to do and is loving this waiting game, which is pissing me off. LOL. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, dude, Aaron Rodgers has been in the media a major talking point for almost 2 decades. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, is this any? I mean, he looks like the guy that kind of finds it even annoying. You know what I mean? Like he's on that end. So maybe, but I don't know. Do you feel like that's what the hang up is? He's just juicing the lemon?
Nah, I don't know. I just think there's some little details they're working out or something. His agent's working stuff out, and it might be between Green Bay and the Jets. I just still think there's. I mean, I think he's full of it when he says, "I'm still trying to decide." I think he's known for quite some time what he's going to do. But I do think that I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I think there's three moving parts here with him, Green Bay, and and our organization. So I just think there's moving parts. So it's taking time, and there's I honestly believe there's a stare down going on between the Packers and the Jets right now. There's a stare down with that compensation.
Interesting. That's a take. I don't know. I don't know, man. That would be interesting to learn. I don't feel like there's too much contention between the two organizations. Like, I mean, the stare down doesn't mean there's contention, but I feel like the reports that we kind of have the framework all but done, I think that's probably closer to the truth. Now, money, which players are involved to make money go up or down or picks go up or down, I think that's real. But I don't look at it like Aaron Rodgers is taking his time because he wants to milk it. Like, I don't see any benefit to that. And again, it's not like this is his first time in the spotlight in 15 minutes of fame and he's really enjoying it and he's out there on the town like fucking TMZ's chasing him down. I don't see any of that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see that. That's not what I'm getting. I think it's just a guy who's very introspective, doesn't feel like he has the urgency to make a move right now. He wants to make sure he's in. And then on the other end, there's probably some details, like Jeremy said. There's a lot of variables here, man. Like if they are going to include package players, what does that look like? You know, what about those players' contracts? And his contract is on the complex side too, guys. So they probably want to work some of these issues out. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to just go into this. If you could save yourself $30 million in 2 years, you're going to do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's more what it is, MC. Kareem checking in. He likes Baker, the person, but not. Is he built for New York? He is built for New York, he says. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm gonna have to check out GreenBean.
All right, yeah, I'm out of here in a minute too. All right, Jeremy, feel better, buddy. Jeremy, Jets chaos. He has COVID, so he overcame to hang out with us. So I appreciate that. Jeremy, you want to tell anybody you got anything coming up tonight, tomorrow, or something?
No, hopefully I'll be back Wednesday night. I'm gonna take it easy till then. So hopefully I'll be back Wednesday night for I feel like I'm getting better. So hopefully that I'm through the worst of it and then I'll be back. But just good to be here on with you, man. I wish it would have happened while I was on with you, but we're going to have to wait a little longer.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, look, feel better. And you need anything, let me know.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, there he goes. Jeremy from Jets Chaos. He has COVID right now and still overcame to come on with us. I think it was the excitement of the Quincy Williams re-signing, everybody. What an interesting thing to happen today, right? Lots of Jets news this week. We've been, hoping for one story to break. That hasn't happened, but we have gotten lots of other stuff to chew on. The appetizers have been delivered to the table. The prime rib has not made it, but we did get our mozzarella sticks. We're all right. We got our artichoke dip and maybe a charcuterie board, right? Maybe one of those. And we got a little cold antipasto, something like that. So we're nibbling. Angel checks in. What's up, Angel? I don't think Rodgers is taking his time to piss the Jets off. I think it's to stick it to the Packers organization. Otherwise, he wouldn't have flown to him. Maybe that's another take I haven't considered yet. Maybe he just wants to stick it and rub their face and shit for another minute or two. He likes that. That's an interesting take. Maybe. Hey, Eric Craig popping in. Beanbagger Supreme. Eric, I was just telling everybody before for this week's positional breakdown on Wednesday night, our private positional breakdown in the Beanbaggers. Dom C cannot make it, so we're going to have a fill-in. The great Dylan Terriman from Jetnation Radio will be stopping by to hang out with us in the Beanbaggers private room. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Eric's always there. He's there every single week. So that's fun. Guys, let's see. Here's Phil. What's up, Phil? Remember the 2021 draft? It took 3 picks to make sense. Yeah, that's the truth. That was this year. 2022 draft. It took 3 picks for it to make sense to me, Phil. I don't know what the hell was going on. It's crazy because I knew we were getting, it was like, these are good players. I'm happy on that front, but damn, I don't get it. Red John checking in. Thank you, buddy. He says, I'd go for Jameis. Just needs to cut down on the interceptions. Well, the thing is with Jameis Winston is that he can't. Remember, Bruce Arians and what the hell is the guy's name? Byron Leftwich. They saw Jameis Winston, the potential of him, and they said, and Bruce Arians said, like, we're going to put everything we can into making this guy. So he's got all the talent in the world. And that was the year after 33 touchdowns, 33 picks. And they worked with him for that 1 year, and they cut him. So what does that tell you? It's not that he's not talented. It's not that he can't be an asset to a team. But Red John, I would be devastated if that's the way that we went. Like, if that's where we ended up, like, out of everything, we end up with Jameis Winston, I'm going to be disappointed. I'll root, I actually like Jameis Winston. That's the interesting thing about it. But man, oh man, would I be, I'd be like, holy shit. I probably prefer Brissett, dude. Really. But anyway, interesting point, and thank you for the super chat. Guys, that is going to wrap it up for this one. Let me see here. What happened here? That's going to wrap it up. I do appreciate you guys stopping by on Christmas. Who knew, right? I put on the Santa hat, and we ended up getting a signing. The Jets re-signed brother of Quinnen Williams, Quincy Williams, to a 3-year, $18 million contract, $9 million guaranteed with incentives that could reach $21 million. So that means if you play balls to the wall, maybe limit the friggin' missed tackles. He led the team in missed tackles last year alongside of Jordan Whitehead with 17. So maybe some of those incentives clean up a little bit of that game where he's weak, and we get to see an even better, improved Quincy Williams. But let's be real here. He's a solid football player. He has his weaknesses, and I understand when some people don't necessarily love him. I get it. But he's a solid football player, and his impact is undeniable. When he's on, man. 106 tackles, 74 solo, 24 tackles for a loss, right? Wasn't it 24 or some shit like that? It was something crazy, maybe 12. I think it was 24. Anyway, he's a stud. He just needs to be more consistent, but we got him. So that leads me to believe Quinnen is coming, and I think that might be the end for Quan unless he signs an incredible offer like he did last year, $1.2 million. Guys, have a great rest of your evening. I will see you tomorrow morning. We're going to have a live Green Beans Jets pod. I will not be releasing the podcast in its normal fashion. We're going to go live and do it that way. In the morning, we'll start at 9 a.m. tomorrow, everybody. 9 a.m. live stream for the Green Beans Jets pod episode 108. I hope you can join me. We'll stay live all the way through free agency, and we'll do it that way. Maybe it might be 10 a.m. actually. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't officiated it yet, but it'll be 9 or 10. Check in, guys. We're going to have a great day tomorrow. Free agency starts. The negotiating window opens. You guys have a great rest of the night. What should I play for you? I'm just going to end it with this one. Guys, have a great night. I'll see you next time.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.